Hello and welcome to the Saladcast, part 2 of our E3 2014 special. I'm Dan Train, joining me today, Robert Kemp.
Yeah.
And Zachary Burgess.
Yep.
I didn't say the date, it's the 15th.
No, it's a different day.
It's a different day for the last day.
Today the day.
Indeed.
Today the day of the day.
And this cast will cover the Sony and Nintendo press conferences and associated other gubbins.
Gubbins, indeed. There will be gubbins.
There will be gubbins.
Gubbins are promised in abundance.
Plenty of
in
gubbins.
abundance. I only had like 2 things that weren't in the press conferences.
I guess, yeah.
Not so much gubbins then, and more standard.
More giblets.
Yeah. Press conference giblets, yes. Show floor gubbins?
Limbs. No.
Minimal.
No limbs. Only giblets. I don't know. No real meat.
Can you?
I guess, but like the giblets are like the organs and stuff inside,
That's right,
but
yeah.
not the meat you want to eat.
So you can't get them from the limbs.
No.
You have to get them from the torso.
From the torso.
Yeah,
No giblets, only meat.
But what about
Meat?
gubbins?
I don't know, Megan. What are gubbins?
I don't know. I don't think they have anything to do with meat.
They like the bits of food you find in an animal's stomach, like when it's dead or something. Like they're gubbins.
There probably is a word for that.
Yeah, probably.
Probably not gubbins.
Probably. Ew.
Ew.
Probably what it is.
So we're starting with
Sony. Yeah, they ran long.
they ran long.
This was,
Okay.
Yeah, so they're probably weirdly Sony I think had the shittest conference of the lot, like in terms of like because they had so many problems and the pacing was kind of weird and
Well, what they had, their main problems were, the bit towards the end where it all got shitty because they were just like talking, and that's never a good sign. And also they had the classic problem of like no continuation of tone, where they just cut from like, here's something horribly brutal and here's Living Planet.
yeah,
Right. Yeah.
and they also like I don't know, there were problems on the feed of like miking the mics, like people weren't turning the volume up. Like presumably it was okay in the theatre, but it was bad
there was
on
a couple of times where they didn't turn the mics on fast enough.
It was bad on what they were broadcasting or recording. Because don't forget, this is the one that was in like US cinemas.
All right.
Like simulcast.
But not on TV.
It wasn't on TV, this one. No.
That's why they ran long, because they could. They didn't have a TV slot.
It was nearly 2 hours, man. It was long.
But in terms of numbers of games, not any more.
Actually that much more, no. They
Microsoft.
just rhetoriced a lot. And it was,
Well, and there was quite a few things that had already been shown at other places as well.
yeah. It wasn't a great show overall. But let's get into it. It was the same set design they've been using for a while. Like, I think ever since they did the unveiling of the PS4.
Which also...
It's like that same sort of one screen in the middle with a really wide, weird...
Super wide, yeah.
Which also sucks
yeah.
because that always tempts them to put stuff on the extra stuff, and then the camera has to cut away from the actual video to look at the other pointless things that aren't actually interesting.
I got real worried because, like, during the Destiny stuff, which was the first thing they started showing, they actually did cut to the wide camera quite a lot, and it's like, oh no, is this going to be another one of those shows?
You can't see anything.
Fortunately, it wasn't as bad as Mr. Wide Shot,
No.
that one that they did before, but it was still kind of annoying at times. Yeah. It's like, my note here said, I thought Sony had learnt not to do this. But never mind.
Well, when did you think they learned not to do it? Because they've done it every other time before.
Yeah,
they seem to think it went well.
But I thought they were getting better at it, in not doing the wide shot so much, or at least when it wasn't important and they had other stuff.
If they'd actually learned, then they would have got rid of that other stuff
Yeah.
and just had a big screen.
Exactly, I guess. So, yeah, then they start showing Destiny. And it's like the whole thing still looks... it sort of feels like the Halo to me still. Like, I don't know, the way things move and the way things animate.
Yeah.
It's all very Bungie.
Yeah.
But that's not a bad thing, but it's like... It's weird how it's so signature, in a way.
Yeah, it's strange how it's not the game series, it's the development that's... I guess it makes sense. It's the people, right?
Yeah.
But still.
It's their style.
It's a cool style. It's got mixed in a bit of more modern kind of Call of Duty style.
Yeah.
Look down the sight stuff and collector sprint and all of that. It's kind of hybrid there, but it's still more Halo-y looking and feeling.
Yeah, definitely.
It seems that way anyway.
So they didn't actually show any gameplay, I don't think, during the thing. It was a sort of like a story intro where a ghost is talking to you, I guess. When I say a ghost is the little devices you have, the things that look like Guilty Spark. And it's, that was basically talking to you about what's going on. And it was all super serious until at the end, where it's like, it's like, not messing around, you are our only hope. No pressure. It's like, there you go, seriousness dropped, I suppose.
Your only hope, and the thousands upon thousands of other duplicates of you.
Yeah, they all have their own ghosts, I presume.
Yeah. I think he was referring to the Guardians as the only hope, not just you, but... Depends, it's like, these ghost things, like, it's sort of strange in one capacity, because they're sort of like able to tell you stuff about what's going on, and and it makes them feel, I guess, like a unique character, but then you're sort of aware that everyone has one.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know, does that make them a character? It's kind of strange.
Are the ghosts like human tech, or do they come from the ball thing?
No idea.
I don't think anything comes from the ball thing. I think that's the general idea of that universe. It's like no one knows what it is, apart from it's just there to protect us, apparently.
But how does it protect?
But it's
I don't know, it does something.
All right.
It's like a shield or some shit.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, so what is the darkness they refer to? Is that the darkness is the name of the force of the fallen? Or
I don't know, probably.
Or is
generic badness.
Or is the darkness the hive?
Generic badness.
Yeah. Today.
Yeah, like I say, it does seem a bit strange to me that there's such an obvious analogy between the Fallen and the Covenant and the Hive and the Flood, right?
Yeah. It's pretty much the same. And I guess, is the darkness hunting the ball?
Yeah,
is that
probably.
The thing they're after?
Well, or maybe the darkness is just casually destroying everything and the ball happens to be here this time.
Because the trailer seemed to think that they were looking for something. Maybe the ball is that.
I'm sure what they're looking for will turn out to be some kind of Forerunner installation on it. Oh, wait, hang on, that's a different game.
wait, yeah.
Oh, no.
Get it right. Yeah, because the ball thing is bound to be the equivalent of the Forerunner tech.
Yeah, there's Forerunner ship that comes to Earth, and then it's like, oh, wait, there's another Forerunner ship on Earth. We have to get that one.
Yeah.
So then Andrew House came out, who's like another one of these weird face guys. But he seems to be the guy that's been running the press conferences since, he was Jack Tretton's number 2, I guess, in the conference side, but now he's the one that's essentially running the show since Tretton left. And he said things like, okay, Destiny is going to launch on PS4 first, and the beta starts July 17th, and it's better on PS4. Got a weird heckle. Like, there was just some guy in the audience sort of went, whoa, weird noise. Don't know if it was like, yeah, right, kind of sound, or... It's a bit of a... It's a sort of a strange sentiment to make, just say it's better on PS4 or not qualify it.
Yeah, not say why.
And then they decided to... Now that everyone's done fucking up the term beta, let's fuck up the term alpha as well. Why not?
Oh, yeah. It's like, just give out alpha. It's like...
That's even less what alpha means than beta.
Well, because beta is supposed to be when your game is feature complete, but you want to test parts of it. So you give out a beta that might only be bits of the game, I guess. Still,
yeah.
But at least in your development cycle, you are feature complete.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're giving out an alpha, you're suggesting that you're not quite there yet.
Well, it's like 90% of the time.
It's like whether what you receive as an alpha or beta is kind of doesn't make sense. It's an early version of the game. It's like alpha and beta really only refers to where in the cycle the developers are, surely.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know about that.
It's like, what even is pre-alpha? It's like, that's even weirder to me.
Pre-alpha is most of the development, though. Right?
Yeah. I don't know. It's all a bit weird.
They should stop doing that.
Yeah.
Let's call them demos again.
Or just early. Early will do me.
Early access.
Yeah. And they're releasing a white PS4 to go alongside the launch of Destiny.
All right. Cool.
Which is,
I guess,
maybe
if you like that sort of thing.
Depends what kind of white it is. If it's that sort of the plastics that the PS4 is currently made of, but white, I'm not sure that's going to look very good.
No, maybe they'll have to do something.
Sort of scratchy plastic, because it is.
At PS1, do you remember that?
That was horrible grey.
No, the
the
white
X
one.
Do you remember that? The white one. Those white controllers were cool.
Yeah, there was something about the material of those white controllers that was slightly...
Yeah, they were nice.
Slightly nicer in the hand. Weird. So then they had a sort of, I guess, a canned demo of The Order 1886.
Yeah, and then for some reason people were really enthusiastic about, look at the transition between cutscene and gameplay. And it's like, it cuts to gameplay for like 2 seconds as you walk backwards down the corridor shooting, and then back to a cutscene. It's like, I don't think that's necessarily impressive or good.
Well, it's sort of what Uncharted has done in the past.
Guess.
It's like, because they made that gameplay sequence is probably like a little inconsequential.
Well, yeah, by the looks of it, it looked like a fight you're not meant to win, classic style.
Yeah, it's just like, well, you're just involved to keep you engaged, I suppose. But visually, it looked quite nice. Some of the lighting and sort of speculous stuff looks pretty cool, pretty detailed. Like as he's looking through the window at stuff like in that office space, looked pretty nice. But yeah, I guess it's just a Last of Us style shooter, maybe.
Okay.
From what that looks like, I don't know. It seems to fly in the face of what we've sort of been hearing about it, that it's more of a co-op experience that made me think maybe it's a sort of Left 4 Dead type thing, but maybe not. Maybe it's somewhere in the middle. I don't know. Perhaps it's still... They seem to be being a little cagey about it still, in terms of info.
Despite being... This is a big press conference that
show everything. But, well, I don't know. It's still not... It's not due out this year still, so...
No.
Loads of time, I guess. So that was that. Then I talked about Entwined, which and it was one of those like things where they forgot to turn the mic on for a bit.
And the developer did the classic thing which developers often do of like thinking his shit was so revolutionary.
Yeah,
it's just like it's just Dyad.
Yeah, I've made the same note. I sort of said, "But this is Dyad, but calmer."
It's like Dyad with 2 sticks instead of 1.
And the PS4 version came out that very day.
So that's something, I guess.
That's cool.
It's another one of those sort of like, we haven't told you about this, but it's out now! Ha!
Not that it's much of a game. It's not like a giant AAA game or anything. It's just a fairly indie-ish kind of thing.
Well, they did say it was sort of built by like a student group, wasn't it, or something? Like they were just mucking around and ended up making something quite good. So it's like, we'll have that.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah, so there's that. It'll be interesting. It was sort of like, I don't know, perhaps a little pompous and pretentious the way it was presented. It's like, it's about like an impossible love. A fish and a bird can make a dragon somehow. I don't know.
It would have been okay if it
dragon
had just
babies.
Been, like, if it had just been that fancy trailer and then not have the guy come out and try and be all up himself afterwards.
Yeah.
Like if there wasn't the dude talking bit, that trailer would have been fine.
It would have been quite nice, yeah. It's quite nice. It's quite a well-made trailer. But it's like, I don't know, maybe this is where science has been going wrong. We need to be thinking about breeding fish with birds.
For what?
To create dragons.
Okay. That is sort of the definition of a dragon, really. Yeah. It's like, it's a bird, but it's scaly.
Scaly birdfish. No, I don't know.
There you go, science. That one's for free. That one's. So then they made a big deal of some more, like, in the similar vein to the Dead Rising 3 thing that Microsoft did.
Significantly less ridiculous.
Yeah, they said there's some standalone DLC coming for Infamous called First Light, which seems to follow another character, like a lady character, that has the same abilities as whatever he's called in Second Son.
Well, I think she's actually a character from that game.
Oh, is she?
So I hear.
Okay, so it might make sense to players of Second Son a bit more than if you... didn't.
Yeah.
It begs the question, though, to me, is like, why would you not just buy Second Son if you hadn't played it already? And like, why would you get the standalone DLC? It's like, if you're going to play an Infamous game, play Infamous.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know.
Unless it's cheaper and shorter, so it's like a demo.
Oh yeah, presumably it'll be like a 15.
Because they already did that little, was it standalone Halloween thing that was Infamous?
Oh yeah,
vampires and shit.
For Halloween, Infamous 2, I think.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, but so, that would make more sense if it was like a bit more balls out. It's like, there's the weird thing about.
Well, maybe.
That's the weird thing about the Dead Rising 3 thing, because I thought that would have been perhaps better suited as not being an add-on, as being a standalone thing.
Exactly.
A bit like Case West or something was, or the other Dead Rising mini things they did.
Maybe they wanted it to be standalone and cheaper so that they can give it away for free later in their PS Plus.
Oh, it could be. Yeah, so they don't have to give away Second Son quite so early. It could be. I'll buy that. I mean, as in I'll believe it.
Yeah, you will actually buy it.
Buy into that. Yeah.
So
dragons are more lizardy than fishy.
Yes, they are. You're talking about combining two things.
Okay.
Technically, if you want to actually make a dragon, you just de-evolve a bird. You don't even have to evolve any other animals. You just go backwards. Then you get the dinosaurs. And that's basically dragons. You're done.
Yeah, but they don't fly at that point. You have to get some in-between point where
you have to break the laws of physics. You know,
yeah.
Not actually possible.
Okay, fair enough.
So then Sony sort of had a fairly shit reveal of Little Big Planet 3, because I say a shit reveal because they didn't really have any build up to it. It's just like they put a Little Big Planet 3 in big letters in the back of the stage, and some people walk on, and while they're walking on, people are like, "Woo, Little Big Planet 3!" But it's not like they had a classy trailer or something to lead into it, and then it ends in Little Big Planet 3, and you're like, "Oh wow, yay!" It was just a bit. It felt kind of clunky.
Well, it was one of the ridiculous cuts that they made. It's like, we're talking about something else, now we're talking about this.
Suddenly, Little Big Planet 3. It's like they could have just had perhaps it would have been better to introduce it as the way Microsoft sometimes do, and be like, from Media Molecule, someone, and then they come on stage and then they talk about, because you might have been confused at that point that they were going to do that weird Move puppeteering game still.
Possibly.
And then it's like, but no, we're doing Little Big Planet 3, and they were like, hey, that would have been better.
Possibly.
But hey, Little Big Planet 3. It looks like Little Big Planet.
Yeah, but it's like they've made a dramatic mistake from our perspective of, now that there's 4 characters, you're going to need 4 players, and we don't have 4 people. So we're never going to do any of that shit.
Yeah, so they introduced Oddsock, Swoop, and someone else. And they all have different abilities now, so you're not just Sackboy is the one that holds stuff.
Yeah.
And has gun capabilities.
Okay.
I think Oddsock is the one that can
be fat or small.
Oh no, that's Toggle. That's
Toggle,
because they say Toggle all the time in that demo.
Yeah, way too much. He's fat or small.
Oddsock's like the dog thing.
He runs fast.
Yeah.
That was his thing.
And then Swoop is easy mode.
Yeah, Swoop is just fly past all the puzzles.
Yeah. So you can fly. It was like, well, what's the point then? It's a bit... I don't know. I'm not so... I wasn't convinced by that.
No.
It's like, presumably that means there's going to have to be large portions of the game that are just co-op only, or whether they'll do what they sort of did in LVP, the previous ones, and have special areas that are little mini challenges for co-op.
Yeah, but then that's just like...
But they were kind of annoying anyway, because they're just in the middle of a level, and it's like...
Yep, we can't do that.
Yeah. Control still looked kind of floaty, and they were having difficulties at times.
That's just their way, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's imprecise is the problem with it. It's it's...
Well, the reason for that is that they let you import all the old stuff.
True.
So they had to keep the physics the same.
I guess.
Even if the physics sucks.
Yeah, and that's sort of the other, I guess, the other major features. They've added many more levels of depth. So there's not just the 3 points within the level. There's now several.
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily...
It depends if there are even layers like that. Anymore,
yeah, it depends whether it's literally stacks of layers, because a lot of the bits in the demo, it was just like they were transitioning to a new zone that wasn't necessarily as attached directly to the previous zone, so maybe it's just like a transition thing.
Yeah.
Although I'm not sure what advantage that would give if that is the case.
But then it makes you wonder whether they could do some stuff creatively in the 3rd dimension this time. Can you have elements that are moving between the planes that affect you?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Yeah, I guess that's the twist this time in terms of the creation tools. It's like, how much is that going to play in? But weirdly, and I guess this is a testament to the art style of the game. It's like this PS4 version really didn't look any better visually than what we've seen on the PS3.
That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, presumably, the 1080 would make a difference because it's, it was running at 720 with the PS3's weird aliasing before. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely, as I say, a testament to that art style because they sort of nailed it the first time, and it's like, well, what else can we do with it?
It just seems like they're just carrying on rather than having any particularly new ideas.
No, this doesn't sound massively innovative. Like, at least with LBP2, they kind of had that.
You had more power, didn't you, to make stuff?
Yeah, they had that. What was it? The drive towards you can sort of make different game types using the mechanics here. Like, you can create like AI things like the sackbots and stuff that could do things, and there is ability to have more direct control of things in the environment, so you could like map your controls to something else that controlled this vehicle in a certain way, rather than having to use Sackboy to push buttons and pull levers to do it that you had to do in the first game.
Yeah.
And it's like that is quite a step. This feels like shit. We've run out of ideas. What do we do? Add more characters. So yeah, it'll still be good. Don't get me wrong, and it will still be a hit with kids, as the previous ones were. But I don't know. Maybe it's running out of steam.
Yeah, maybe not moving things forward in such a way that you'd hope.
Which might be one of the reasons why they supported all LBP 1 and 2 content, I guess.
That's quite good bullet point, though, isn't it? I guess.
Oh, yeah. There's a shit ton of stuff out there, so plenty of shark levels.
Can't go wrong.
It's all about the shark levels. So there was that. And then there was a very sort of creepy and sort of, I don't know, actually surprisingly gruesome trailer for Bloodborne.
I don't know about surprisingly gruesome.
Well, no, but it's the fact that, I don't know, I guess it was when it was broadcast and stuff, it was sort of like, I don't know. The rest of the tone of the story, of the thing had been sort of staying away from any real
Well, as we said, it wasn't on TV, and they fucked up their cross-cutting between different scales of
their thematic consistency.
Little Big Planet! Kill, kill, kill. So is this Project Beast, essentially?
Yeah.
Is this what it is now called?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Project Beast was a project name, obviously.
Yeah.
That's why it had Project in it.
Project Beast!
So who is this?
It's Dark Souls, again.
What's his name? Is it Miyazaki? Or...
Yeah, something like that.
It's the designer of Demon Souls and Dark Souls, making another Dark Souls game that's not Dark Souls. You still kill things and eat their souls.
Yep.
Miyazaki's the Studio Ghibli guy. Is that coincidence? Might be. Anyway.
I can't remember his name, but when his name came up, like produced by, it said it's by From Software again, so it's actually by the Dark Souls.
So it actually is Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Not just one guy; it's the whole thing.
Yeah.
So is this like a more gruesome Dark Souls?
Well, it's sort of mixed with like the aesthetic of the Order, is the way I would describe it. It looked like a more of a town.
Involved.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like a halfway house, I guess. Imagine Dark Souls, but 1,000 years later.
Okay.
Maybe.
It could be crazy.
I don't know.
It's
probably just going to be very similar.
It was a CG trailer, so it wasn't like any actual gameplay. Presumably, it's pretty early development for them.
Yeah.
But I don't care. There's like as much of an appreciation as I have for Demon Souls and Dark Souls and what they've done and what they do. That's not a game I'm ever going to really want to play.
No.
Just does not sound my cup of tea at all. But for some people, that's everything they've ever wanted. So it's good that it exists, I suppose. Backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
So then we had the another bit of Far Cry 4, like where they showed.
That we saw at the Ubisoft press conference, of course.
Well, we only saw the
single player intro, basically.
The single player intro at Ubisoft, yeah. So this was a gameplay trailer.
Okay.
Where they were doing a well, it wasn't a trailer; it was a gameplay session demo thingy.
Well,
they were doing a fortress.
I don't think it was live though, was it?
Not sure.
Don't think there was guys on stage.
Well, no, because they were doing a simulated co-op as well, which always makes you question whether it's actually live or not. Sometimes. Little Big Planet one was obviously live because they fucked up a lot.
Yeah, they sucked really badly.
Yeah. But yeah, this was like an example of, you could be doing a bit of gameplay and then ask for some help, and then you could get a secondary player involved.
Except apparently not really.
Well, it was hard to tell.
Well, I hear that like, supposedly, when you trigger it into co-op mode, A, it's not nearly as seamless as that seemed, and B, it basically sections you off from the story mode content, so it's just basically a place to fuck around in.
No, I see. So it doesn't matter. Well, but, like for things like the fortress liberations, maybe that would be okay.
Oh, maybe.
Like for the actual just world stuff. But for the actual, I guess, story missions and what you're supposed to be doing, maybe it doesn't make sense to go co-op.
Yeah.
Well, how would that work? So, like, that's okay, I guess. It's probably more interesting than the co-op stuff they had before, which I think also was what Sony also demoed, like when Far Cry 3 was still being built. But you remember the crazy demo where they're on a bridge or something?
Well, that was like the multiplayer more than the co-op, I guess.
I thought it was
multiplayer co-op.
Yeah.
It wasn't. That was like those are like specific set levels.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, is this like they've gone back this way instead of trying to make these set levels, or maybe they have both now?
I think actually, what it's like, it might have proper co-op as well. Because when I was saying about how it's sectioned off, that's because of the weird free co-op thing that they're doing. That they announced at the end of this bit of Far Cry trailer.
Free co-op?
Where they're saying you can download a thing that you join in for free without buying the game.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll just make a note about that. Yeah, other players can join in with the Far Cry 4 co-op, even if they don't own Far Cry 4.
But I think that's why it's separated off from the story, because you don't download the whole game, you download a chunk, as in like this area that you're going to be co-oping in.
Yeah, I guess. It's going to be interesting to see how they pull that off.
Yeah, how's that work?
And do you still need a PS Plus account to do that, or that kind of stuff? What's going on there? It's interesting.
It's a cool idea.
Yeah, I'm sort of surprised Sony let them do it, or that Ubisoft are doing it at all. Because surely that means it's one of those ideas that means people aren't paying us.
Yeah, it's not like they get the whole game though. Apparently.
I mean, it could be an excuse to sort of like, if they play the co-op stuff and quite like it, then maybe they'll buy the game.
Yeah,
like a way of doing demos.
Some people were saying that surely then it would be better if you downloaded the whole game, because then you can instantly go into the full game from
yeah, like that's the other problem here, I suppose. Like, what is it? What's going to happen in the someone invites you to a session? It's like, hang on, I've got to download 4 gigs of content.
That's why it's a smaller chunk. And I don't know how small a chunk they can make it, really, because it's got not exactly an uncomplicated world.
Yeah, no, it'll be pretty big anyway, regardless. That's the problem with demos anyway these days. They're always gigantic.
So yeah, don't know how that's going to work. Maybe you need to take the disc to their house, and once they've downloaded,
I don't think it's going to be quite that.
Once they've installed, it lets you do it. I don't know.
Pretty sure he said downloads.
Strange though. And then a sort of a comical trailer starts with the logo Deep Silver, and then a jogging man going dun, 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 with some really sort of like happy music, and then as he's jogging along, everything behind him is turning into a zombie disaster.
Awesome.
And somehow he's been injured at some point and turns into a zombie while he's running. Don't quite know how that works. But
so that's how all zombie things work, don't they?
Yeah, but he didn't. There was no obvious.
He pulls back his wristband and there's like a giant cut there.
No. I didn't see that bit. I was probably typing.
Yes, I'm sure.
It's Dead Island.
It's basically Dead Island 2. And it's like, I wasn't massively keen on the first ones, or the first series. Well, there's been 2, hasn't there? Or has there been 3?
I think there's 1.
There's been like 1 and then 2 like semi-spin-offs.
Right.
Oh, right.
It. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about those.
So yeah, not been too keen on those, but they're making another one, and it was described as shambling goodness.
The tone of the thing is slightly more like
upbeat.
Yeah, so that could be slightly more interesting if they're going slightly more irreverent about it.
More comedy about it, yeah. Because that was one of the strengths of it. Actually, was that it was dumb.
Yeah,
but I think that was the problem with the spin-offs of them, is that they made even less sense than the first one in terms of tone and storytelling, and it's like it became really difficult to gel with it. Oh, and the fact that the spin-offs featured much more jungle, and it was widely regarded as the jungle was widely regarded as the worst bits of the first game.
Except maybe the sewers.
Apparently
the sewers were pretty bad as well.
Yeah. Everyone just liked beating people up in the sun-drenched swimming pools. Of course.
Of course. It's a resort. Well, it was.
So then, hey, it's Blizzard time to do their obligatory, hey, we're still working with PlayStation, guys.
We're still here, guys.
Guys. Anyone? So they are adding Last of Us themed content to Diablo.
For some reason.
What?
Yes.
How does that fit?
I don't know, I guess zombies and
zombies.
shit. Like in a Diablo game, it's probably fine.
It's not going to make any sense, because it's not like you could be stealthy in Diablo, so...
No.
They're just generic zombies at that point.
It's just the models. It's like and clickers and all that rubbish which still will be there. But that was pretty much all they had to say. It's like, great, cheers guys.
Yep.
Well, shambling goodness.
Didn't even mention any of like Fortnite or anything.
Good job. Fortnite on Blizzard. Fortnite's Epic.
Epic turned up. Which one was that? That was Microsoft, wasn't it? Where Epic just turned up for a minute and was like, hi, and then left again.
I don't even remember that. We didn't have a note on that.
I can't remember.
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure they turned up at some point for like a moment.
I don't remember Epic at all. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, Epic. Has there been any news on Fortnite at all over E3?
No.
Or anything?
Not really.
Come on, Epic. What the fuck are you doing?
Laying low.
Yeah.
Turning up at Apple press conferences instead.
Yeah. Weird, isn't it? Yeah. So then they buggered off.
Yep.
Went back into the hole from whence they came. And then there was a little bit more about Battlefield Hardline.
Yep.
I think what did they show? Was it just like a trailer thing?
Yeah, it was just like a trailer cut of that same mission that they showed earlier. With the crane falling down and all that shit.
Helicopters getting shot down for no reason.
Yeah. And then they had that guy, I don't know, the big guy from Sony. I can never remember his name. Like he's a slightly larger gentleman.
Right.
But he was on that advert that they do you remember when they were piss taking Microsoft's DRM stuff?
Yeah.
He was the guy that just handed over a game that said, here's how you share games on PS4.
Yeah. That was funny.
Thanks!
That was hilarious.
Yeah, he was one of them. So he comes on and he was basically saying, Battlefield Hardline, it's got a grappling hook. I mean, come on, that's my jam.
Yeah, apparently.
Like, that kind of fell a bit flat.
Naturally.
A lot of Sony's attempts to sort of say
Get
things,
down with the kids.
Yeah, that were perhaps a little more, I don't know, how people talk, in inverted quotes, is inverted commas, in quote marks.
Whatever.
Yeah. It's like every time they try and do that, it sort of just doesn't sound right coming from Sony. I mean, they're okay guys, but it's like it's when they try, it just doesn't work.
Well, that's what we were saying about the other project. It's like you can't try and you can't do that. You just like it always sounds dumb.
You're either that person or you're not.
Yeah,
it's like and it everyone can tell when you're not. So yeah, and then we saw some Disney Infinity, a Sony conference, which is kind of weird, suggesting that there are some like exclusive characters that are only going to be in the PlayStation versions.
Really?
Yeah, which is strange.
Only for like a month.
Oh, okay. Fine.
Okay, so that's just totally random.
Oh, and they reinforced it by also saying that there's going to be
Destiny
PS4
stuff.
Destiny content, which everyone already knew about anyway. And then they made a big deal of, hey, we're working with Paradox. And it's like, the Paradox are a bit of a weird publisher, except for freaking Magicka 2.
Yep.
And that was a sweet, sweet trailer.
Well, that's exactly the kind of trailer they do.
Yeah, it's like
They're good at that kind of trailer.
I love their humour. It's fantastic. But fucking Magicka 2, come on! That game was amazing.
We need to get that on the PC, though, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually. I assume it's going to come out on PlayStation first, because that seems to be what PlayStation are doing at the moment. Everything on first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hoover up with indie stuff.
Console the phrase, I think, console exclusive came up a lot during the Sony console. And does that mean, okay, so it's going to be on a Sony console and PC?
Yeah.
Because they're not saying it's an
that's probably what it
exclusive,
means.
they're saying it's a console exclusive.
That's a good way of getting around it.
Yeah. So I would
hope so.
imagine a lot of this stuff is also getting PC releases.
Yeah.
And then there was probably the actual one sort of funny
One
bit
bit
of
that
the
Dan
show.
likes.
Yeah.
Well,
And it was actually kind of well done, you know. So the larger gentleman from Sony was starting to read out, like, here's some of the fan mail we've received.
Well,
From...
sort of well done, apart from, like, they strung that whole thing out too long. It's like,
a
here's some
little
other fan mails, and here's some other fan mails, and it's like, probably
Yeah,
none of those are real at all. And
No.
then there's the one that they're leading up to, which is the not real one.
the not real
The
one.
deliberately not real one.
Yeah, a fake child letter from Tim Schafer saying he's remaking Grim Fandango.
Which is crazy.
Woo!
And the crowd goes wild for some reason.
Remakes, yeah!
This is really strange news. It's cool that he's got the rights to his own properties back. That's pretty awesome that Disney are open-minded enough to
But they did say, it's like
hey,
we have to give thanks to Disney and Lucasfilm for letting us do this.
It's freaking awesome that's true. You can actually get double fine to make a Grim Fandango game. But on the other hand, like, that's one of my favourite games, and I've played that quite a few times.
Yeah, presumably they're going to remodel the whole game so it's all 3D now, and so the movement isn't so weird.
They'll have to redo the whole thing. I don't know about the will they
redo the audio?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
And all the performances.
All the music and everything is brilliant first time around. Hopefully that stuff is in high enough quality that
or maybe they probably still have the masters somewhere for that stuff.
I hope so. That might be the key to the whole thing. But, I mean that's cool. I mean, I'll probably play that. But I mean,
whether that stuff is still in a vault somewhere at Disney that they'll have to get access to, or.
But that game, was always brilliant. But I don't know. It's a bit odd to see it at a Sony press conference in 2014.
It is a little strange, yeah.
When it was a game that didn't even sell that well in 1998. But it's a freaking awesome game.
But maybe now it will, given the fact that, Double Fine and Telltale have kind of reinvigorated the adventure game market. But,
Somewhat.
Maybe now's the time to bring back a classic.
Yeah.
It's kind of ageless, isn't it?
Yeah, it is ageless. It's a true classic, I think.
So, the story could still work.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So,
and there'll be loads of people who've never played it before as well.
I never played it past Disc 2, or the second chapter, sorry.
The Rubicava chapter.
Yeah, I don't think I ever played past there, so...
There's two more.
There is, yeah.
Through, yeah.
Yeah, so, I'd be into it.
Yeah, it's cool. There's some good stuff after that as well. Well, funny enough.
Well, yeah, I saw you play a bunch, so it's back in the day. So, yeah, I'd be up for that.
Yeah, genius.
Indie time!
Yeah, I didn't know any of this.
No.
I was like, here's a whole bunch of indie stuff.
Well, they all looked like
they're all pixel art games.
They're all pixel art games. And this is one of the major differences, I think, between ID at Xbox and PlayStation's indie thing. It's like PlayStation's indie thing, they seem to be backing, well, with the exception of maybe Octodad, they seem to be backing games that are, I don't know, you could traditionally call a game. Very gamey games.
Right.
So when you were talking about pixel art stuff, it's not just pixel art stuff. It's pixel art stuff with guys with guns. Just doing shooting type stuff.
Type thing.
Yeah, okay. Broforce aside, Broforce is one of them, and that does look awesome. But I think that's coming to PC as well, right?
I think it's on PC.
I think it's already out. It's been out on PC for a month.
Oh, early access stuff? Or
no, I think it's out.
Out? Oh, shit.
Isn't it?
I might have to get it.
And Super Time Force.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's actually out on PC yet.
No, I don't know.
It's out somewhere. It's out on Xbox.
It's out on Xbox, yeah.
No, wait, that must be out on PC as well, I think. I'm fairly sure.
Yeah, so pretty much all that they showed was all that style of stuff. The one that caught my eye was that they seemed to be spending... They spent a bit more time on the Talos principle.
Well, I actually got that as a separate note afterwards, so I'm not sure whether that was actually part of...
It was sort of...
Because I think the first part of that was all from one publisher, wasn't it?
I don't know.
It's like Devolver or something.
Oh yeah, Devolver,
the publisher of all those pixely ones.
Yeah, you might be right.
And then I think that they transitioned. I guess this is another indie thing.
Yeah,
the Talos principle.
But it's by Crow Team, and am I right in thinking that Crow Team are the Serious Sam guys?
Maybe.
So this is
I've helpfully made out. This is maybe the one case where I should have made an additional note because I just wrote the name and now I've completely forgotten what it was.
What was it? What the
Talos?
No, I actually can't remember what the game was. I thought it looked. Maybe I'm getting confused with something else, but I thought it looked a bit like The Witness, which also we haven't seen anything of.
They haven't shown that at all.
No Jonathan Blow this year.
Got his head down on that one.
Yeah. Well, it depends if it's just him working on it or if he has a team. If it's just him, then yeah, fair enough. That could take a while. It totally is. Crow Team are the guys behind Serious Sam.
Talos, isn't that the guy that guy keeps going on about in Skyrim?
The god of humans.
Yeah.
That they're not allowed to worship, yeah. Or it's a spaceship in Eve.
Indeed.
Of course, because Eve is all the spaceship names are based on the fucking Norse mythology as well.
The Talos Principle is a first-person puzzle game that blends the physics of Portal with a philosophy of Myst.
Oh god!
So it is The Witness.
Yeah, basically.
With lasers.
Yep.
All right. There you go. You heard it here second.
Reading it off somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because we forgot.
Yeah, I totally didn't make enough notes about it. Yeah. Where are we at? I've gone too far. Grasshopper. Hey, Grasshopper, Suda51.
Yeah, it was basically exactly what you expect from him. As in complete fucking ridiculousness, and you have no idea what's going on.
Over the topness, but they were like making a point of like highlighting certain characters in this sort of brutal looking, what I can assume will be a deathmatch game, sort of pointing out, oh, this is someone, they have a certain level and they're of a certain type.
Yeah, and
or
then
something.
you pick up their loot or something.
Yeah, it's called Let It Die.
That doesn't really tell you anything about the game, though. Of course.
Nope.
Just some dudes killing each other.
Probably quite early. And then there was this weird underwater game by Giant Squid.
Not very. I was like,
A giant squid is some of the Journey team, I think.
well, I was assuming so because it looked fucking exactly like Journey.
Yep.
And that's why I wrote it, Underwater Journey.
Yeah, it's called ABZU, which is a bit of a weird name. And the U had like an accent on it.
Well, maybe it had an accent, or it might just be a logo-esque thing.
ABZU. ABZU.
But yeah, Underwater Journey.
And then there was some No Man's Sky raised its head again.
Everyone's favourite.
Hello Games. So I don't really know what the progression of that game is going to be, because it's kind of cool that you can just sort of be on the ground, you can see some wildlife and stuff, you can fly and then have a fight in space and then go down to another planet. But what's the point?
I'm sure they'll get to that.
They've been super cagey talking about it.
Yeah.
They just like, we're not telling you what you have to do. It's like you can gather resources, and then I think he said you can gather resources and they're beneficial to you. And
Right,
then just moved on. It's like, what the fuck does that even mean?
Yeah.
Am I making things? Come on.
Yeah. What's the end game?
Or any game.
Yeah, what is the game? It's like, it still looks really cool.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just want to know what it's going to be. It's like, I want to know, man. Tell us more.
You probably won't know until quite late on, I would have thought.
It's like there's some really cool concepts, though. Like the fact that the entire... Like, they made a big deal of everything procedural.
Yeah.
Like, they've not designed anything.
Although, as usual,
It's
that's like you automatically are suspicious about people just using that as like, it's always a bit, it's just sort of seen as a buzzword now. Because it's like, I can't imagine that you can procedurally generate just like a bunch of wildlife and they all turn out perfectly normal looking, like, oh look, this one looks like a deer.
Oh, no, they will.
Like, that's not how procedural works.
Yeah, they will have designed, like, the models, I guess. Procedural would be, like, what combination of things make this biome or this planet, or, like, what's on this planet.
Because the closest you're going to get to procedural is, like, Spore, and then it's, like, monstrosities.
Yeah. Although that would be cool, too.
Yeah. It's like, well, if you just had, it's like, that's what Spore was originally going to be, is basically this game, more or less.
Yeah, because whenever they went to space, it always showed the same ships, didn't they? They always seemed to, like, jump in just at the right time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Really, I'm really intrigued. The fact that, you know, every player has their own home planet is kind of cool.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that was the classic, like, suspicious buzzwords, where it's like, it's infinite, and it's like, well,
we don't
maybe,
even know what's out
there.
Yeah, that's a strange claim. We don't know what's out there. And it's like, well, maybe you do, because it will be slight variations or random combinations of anything you've made.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So...
Yeah, I mean, it's
perhaps overselling it a little. Although that guy's presentation was perhaps the most believable of the lot in a weird way, because he's obviously just a guy from Hello Games who's not a presenter.
Some bloke from Guildford, right?
Yeah. So fair enough. But I still really want to play it. Tell me more. Yeah, and then there was the obligatory, less than subtle Microsoft dig by saying, hey, you know that camera that we've been selling optionally?
Well, yeah. But I mean, they didn't go far enough, because they should have just flipped it and had it go in the box.
Yeah. It's like, oh, yeah, that would have
been the
now
total
it's free
turnaround.
and it's in the box. Yeah, that would have been amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. But it was like, they still sort of looked at the crowd and went, and there was sort of like a muffled chuckle. Oh, I see what you did there. And they were like, hey, this thing, like, it's enabling people to do stuff, so what are we doing? We're going to make the playroom even weirder to allow people to broadcast shows and stuff.
Can broadcast their nakedness all the time.
Yeah, with props.
Yep.
We're now going to have advanced technology so we can attach stuff to your wang.
Yeah, probably.
It's about the same as a Move controller.
Just stick a ping pong ball on the end. You can probably actually operate it.
Oh, that would be amazing. Someone just attaches a ping pong ball to their cock and see what happens. I say amazing.
You say amazing. Oh dear.
Oh man. And then they were like, "Oh yeah, by the way, Morpheus is
A thing.
a thing. We're still working on it, but hey, that Eve Valkyrie demo is playable on it, and you will be able to play some other stuff at the show."
I can't remember why, but after the note where I said Project Morpheus, there's a completely separate note that just says "woo excitement." I don't know why.
I think some people, the crowd did kind of get a little bit pumped about Morpheus for some reason. They were like, "Hey!" But I'd be more like, "Oculus, man, come on."
And it's also totally like in a super early state.
Did Oculus have anything to show anywhere?
They're not really designed for E3 because they're not software basically.
I guess not, but it's still the sort of place where they might need to.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think they've got any new hardware just now to show.
Oh, okay. Right, so they're not just there just because they...
Well, Palmer Luckey was obviously there because he was on the Bombcast.
Yeah, he was around doing deals or something, probably.
Big obsessed with Samus on Smash Brothers.
Which version of Samus?
Oh wait, hang on. I put Woo excitement between Project Morpheus and the Playroom improvement, so yeah, that was related to that.
Yeah.
Also YouTube upload, apparently.
Oh yeah, that's kind of a cool thing. I mean, I'm not sure necessarily why you need that because, like, on the Xbox at least, everything you save ends up in your OneDrive anyway. So it's like, and then you could upload it to YouTube if you wanted.
And I think they allowed they allowed the PlayStation streams to be saved on Twitch now a while ago.
Don't know.
I think they did.
It depends if when they say YouTube, because YouTube does have some rudimentary streaming stuff now. So if they mean you can stream to YouTube, then maybe that's unique. But I'm not sure they were totally clear on that.
No.
And they've added Twitch and Ustream chat support was basically what they were saying. It's like, oh, now you can interact with your with your viewers, and it's like, okay, so you've added the chat.
Right, can you play Twitch plays Pokemon?
Yeah. Basically.
Up, down, up. Democracy.
And then they sort of talked about free-to-play for a while, but they didn't, saying we're allowing free-to-play stuff on PlayStation, but they didn't really clarify it by saying, okay, do you still need a Plus account to play free-to-play?
No, they didn't really say anything.
Because surely, again, that's that weird bullet point about being able to play multiplayer games. It's like, do you need Plus to do that with free-to-play? Because I think they showed Loadout is coming to PS4. And
PlanetSide 2 is still coming.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. So yeah, again, a bit too vague. PlayStation Now, it's still happening, but the beta is going live in July.
In the US.
And will only support PS3 games initially. And it's like, well, people probably still have their PS3s. It's like, what would be more interesting is supporting PS1 and 2 stuff right now, surely. Well, I guess for me it is anyway.
Yeah.
And they made a big deal of... Well, they didn't make a big deal of it, but they did sort of say, hey, we haven't really worked out how we're going to price this yet.
Yeah.
Whether it's going to be part of PS Plus or whether it's going to be an additional subscription or whether they sort of hinted that maybe you rent time or something with the service. Like, but I guess that's... They said that the beta is supposed to try and help them work out what's going to work. That presumably they'll be analysing people's behaviours through the beta and say, well, what pricing structure is going to work for in our favour and what people are going to actually accept.
At this point, we're getting into a lot of talking.
Yeah, this was
very noted about.
This segment was going on a while, but they finished it up with a mention that PlayStation TV will be coming to American and European markets after it's been out in like Japan for like a year now, but they will be bringing it to us. So you could remote play your PS4 somewhere else in the house. It will natively play Vita and PSP games. Because I think
PSP games.
Yeah, like it will have because I think you can I think when they say PSP, I think they're the ones that they sort of rebrand as like this is a PSP
like
classic
on the PSP Go.
and then,
like
Yeah, and then they resell it to you on the Vita or something. But,
Right, that's cool.
but it's at a pretty reasonable price of $99.
Can I play Wipeout Pure on my TV?
No. It's the one thing that it doesn't do, is it doesn't send Vita image to TV.
But it plays Vita games itself.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't. You can't use your Vita to play it.
No,
you
have to use a DualShock on the PlayStation TV. But yes, you could, in theory, play if one of the PSP classics that it's compatible with is Wipeout Pure.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
You
It's
play
not compatible
Wipeout
with
Pure on your
everything.
TV.
It's only compatible with a certain selection of
Man, that would look terrible.
stuff.
I guess you'll be able to play the last Wipeout game they made, which was Vita, on your TV.
Oh yeah, Wipeout 2048. Or...
Yeah, the sort of prequel Wipeout game. You better play that.
Cool.
So there, but it's
I've
basically
forgotten about
just
that
gonna,
game.
It's basically just going to be like what the. I like to think of it as what the Ouya probably should have been. You know what I mean? Because PlayStation is getting a lot of indie titles.
Mm.
So, and a lot of those go to Vita. The Vita's strength, in fact, is the fact that it can play so many good indie games. It's like screw the ones that are like the big budget titles that come to Vita, because they're inevitably all rubbish. Like that Batman game was the last one that was good. Well, with the exception of Tear Away, people generally liked that. But, you know, like the PSP, most full-price titles are kind of cack. So it's a good indie platform. So a PlayStation TV means that you've got a nice indie device, I guess. Which, for a lot of people, that's a good cheap in to having a games console. I kind of like it. And if it's capable as well as video streaming, say, from DLNA sources, then if it can do that as well, then Ouya has no place in existing, really.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And they've actually then won up to the PS4 by having DLNA. Because holy shit, one of these consoles needs to support that. So, yeah, good news, I guess.
Fairly positive.
Yeah, I wonder if that $99 will translate to like 70 quid here.
I doubt it. It'll be £99.
Yeah.
Of course it will.
$999. Mortal Kombat X!
Yeah.
Looks like Mortal Kombat.
It's like, let's take a brief break between all this talking to have a complete random bit of murderizing.
Yeah.
Because it's like there were tons of talking before this, tons of talking after this, and in the middle, murders.
Yeah.
Really grim, disgusting.
Yeah, it's even
shit.
more brutal than Mortal Kombat 9 was.
Yeah.
Nasty.
But gameplay-wise, it looks like Mortal Kombat. It looks like, 9 was the revolutionary one, and now they're just doing more of that.
Yeah.
With better graphics.
Well, they're moving into the Injustice thing of having environmental stuff.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, the environmental stuff was cool in Injustice, so...
But the competitive scene doesn't like it.
No. Well, maybe, presumably, if they want MK to be taken with any sort of seriousness, I suppose they'll just add an option to turn off that stuff. It's like, no environmentals.
Well, it's not just environmentals. You need to have a symmetrical map, even without the environmentals. You basically need the Final Destination. that's the rule.
But the maps, even in Injustice, were just a plane.
Not always.
Apart from the environmental stuff. Like, the environmental stuff have to happen in a certain place, and yeah, those are asymmetric.
Yeah.
But generally, it's just a plane.
Mostly.
It's a 2D fighter, what else are you going to do? So yeah, that happened. Oh man, and then
half an hour of rambling.
Here comes Sony's real shit phase. Like, this is the stuff. This is the segment we like to call stuff Sony cares about, but the rest of the world doesn't. So Sony are sort of trying to do a TV incentive, like taking something out of the Microsoft playbook for some reason.
Really?
Yeah, they were talking about, hey, we're going to make this for a really long time.
Yeah, for
this
really long.
show called Powers, which is based on a comic book called Powers, which is like, it's about heroes.
It's basically heroes.
But it follows a world where superheroes are commonplace, but they occasionally get killed, and then it's up to this guy to be a detective for superhero murders or something. Yeah, this ran for fucking ages. Yeah. To the point where I started making a note of, hey, this reminds me of 4K, 4K, 4K.
Maybe.
Subscribers to PS Plus get this original content. great. Brilliant. No one cared.
Snore.
I mean, it might be cool, but good God, this is the wrong place for that kind of announcement for that long.
Yeah, for that long.
And then they were sort of all like, oh yeah, by the way, on a similar note, the Ratchet and Clank movie's still happening.
Yep, apparently.
Here, have an unfunny trailer.
The whole movie's going to be horrendously unfunny, I'm sure.
Well, it could be alright. The humour in Ratchet and Clank games isn't that bad, but yeah, the trailer just wasn't funny. And as a sort of the one gaming thing related to it, it's like, oh, they are actually remaking the original Ratchet and Clank game.
Yeah.
For release in 2015.
Why?
So people can understand the characters of the movie.
Right.
You know, it'll be one of those, like, we've got to release these at the same time kind of tie-ins.
Yeah, fair enough.
So then they showed off a bit of the remake of The Last of Us. Last of Us Remastered.
How's it looking?
Cool. Yeah, it's alright.
I heard it was it's not that surprising, but it's a complete nightmare to port the like a super advanced PS3 game to PS4.
Yeah.
Because of the amount of insane PS3 cell processor based optimizations they were doing by that stage.
I mean, it doesn't look like a great deal of fidelity has been added. I mean, the obvious difference in some of the shots was like, oh yeah, this is actually running at 1080 now. This scene looks a lot sharper than it did before. But, you know, it's not like they're adding new... It doesn't look crazy different. It just looks more like how it should have looked, if you see what I mean. If you had the PC version of the game that was released at the time.
Yeah.
You know.
That's cool.
So it'll be fine. For people that haven't played The Last of Us, yeah, that'll be the version to get.
Mm-hmm.
For everyone else, no real need to bother, I suppose.
It does come with the DLC, though, apparently.
Yeah, it does come with that prequel DLC.
Cool.
But, yeah, whatever. And then a very, very pretty trailer for MGS5.
Well, a very pretty trailer that you couldn't concentrate on because the camera was wobbling around constantly.
Yeah.
Not the physical camera, I mean the camera that this trailer is shot through in the world.
Yeah.
It's like constant jiggle!
There was a lot of like
shaky
hand cam stuff, yeah. And like, they have a bit of an obsession with the glint on a knife.
Yeah, they did that
Hold up a knife, lens flare. That happened a lot. The trailer, I mean, I know it was like they made a big deal at the start of the trailer as well, saying this has been directed and edited by Hideo Kojima, and it's like
apparently he's a cracker, I think, because he can't hold still for a minute.
Yeah, and he likes showing like shots of a similar theme right next to each other. Knife scene, knife scene, knife scene.
Yeah.
Rain scene, rain scene,
Well,
rain
there's
scene.
some thematic consistency in the Sony press conference, even if it is knife to knife.
But you know, it was all cutscene stuff, no gameplay. But if all that stuff is, you know, like the Ground Zero stuff, all rendered in engine, it looks real good. Like, just wonderful visuals. So, yep, and, you know, if going on the back of Ground Zero's PS4 version is going to be the one to get. So, yeah. And then, sort of surprise announcement.
Well,
sort of surprised because they hadn't said it was coming, and it was sort of doubtful whether or not they would or not. But GTA 5 is totally coming next gen.
Oh yeah,
and to PC.
And to PC.
Oh yeah, to PC as well at the same time.
That's the bit I didn't know.
The key part.
Oh, that's amazing.
PC version, and with improved like graphics.
It looks great.
Yep. I mean, it already looked pretty damn good on the previous generation. Now it's going to look.
But now it looks
amazing.
Great.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is almost the best way, actually, in terms of visuals, because if they'd started making it for these next-gen consoles, like, say they started development years later or whatever, and they were like, oh, okay, we'll try the next-gen, they'd probably have, like, done a GTA 4 where the scope had to be quite small in order to pack like next-gen detail into every frame or whatever. But I almost prefer this kind of, okay, let's go expansive with the old tech and then layer on some nicer graphics for the new. That way you can have a giant
They must have been working...
world.
I think they must have been doing some of this work in tandem. Like, as in...
Do you think?
Yeah. They can't have just crapped this out in a year.
No.
That's what I'm thinking.
No.
It's like they must have been...
they knew those consoles were coming, and they knew that there was a clamour for the PC version.
Yeah. This can't have just been done in a year. They must have been working on it all the time, which may have explained some of the delays in getting the 360 work out if they were specifically building some of the like assets, like this is a next gen version, we'll build that first and then downscale it for the 360 or
indeed
PS3.
But
holy crap, it looked good.
Man, that's going to be cool. I'm going to play that all through again on PC in super high.
It'll be interesting to know again, like with this run of next gen games so far. Watch Dogs is probably and Titanfall being the only real good examples. It's like what PC performance is going to be. Because if it's like Titanfall, fine. If it's like Watch Dogs,
well, that might have been more the developer's fault than, than the PC.
It's definitely
struggling.
the PC's fault.
I think, where the step is, I think in where your current PC hardware stands in terms of next gen is currently sort of a bit of an unknown. It's like, is the jump going to be? Because when 360 came out, like PC was so far ahead of the original Xbox and PS2 that when the next gen consoles came out, that was like, okay, there's a jump here, but it didn't take PC long at all to catch up. And it's like, this time, PCs are already ahead.
Yeah.
Even of the new consoles.
They are, yeah.
But now people are developing to use all these new features because next-gen consoles can handle them. Is the inefficiency of a PC going to hold it back slightly? Do you know what I mean? Or is there
more like they didn't optimize it properly in their port for the Watch Dogs?
Yeah.
It's like they run the PC's fault. But I know what you mean. It's like
how long is it going to be to another upgrade cycle? It's that old question.
Well, if you have a modern GPU or whatever, you probably have you can do equivalent optimizations to what's going on in those consoles or whatever. Because it seems to be the key thing with the new consoles. It's like, okay, it's x86 architecture, but the key thing is it's got relatively slow CPU and tons of GPU powered, loads of pipelines which you can even leverage to do CPU style work, parallel work. But that kind of optimization can translate directly to a nice PC.
Yeah, I mean, there are still games occasionally that I play because I have the meters on my screen where it's like, oh, the bottleneck for this one is my CPU, weirdly. Yeah. And it's like, and this was a game that also came out on a console? It's like, what? That seems strange to me if consoles are GPU focused. I don't know. It might be an interesting space, where PC ends up going. Or maybe we'll be forced in. We might be okay, but at the same time, we might be forced into a rapid upgrade path. As everyone catches up to next gen, or
potentially,
yeah.
I think if you upgraded this year or next year your PC or whatever, you'd be set for quite a long time.
Yeah, that's all. My PC's 5 years old now, apart from the graphics card. But
your PC has other problems that you need to upgrade. That's not to do with power mostly.
Well, the case. Well, the motherboard actually. It's the USB that's the biggest problem. But that's another conversation. Batman. No, Batman.
No, Batman. Man, that looked pretty good too. Was that gameplay?
Technically, yeah.
Yeah, it was, because they showed the Batmobile was the thing they were focused on.
They showed it turning into a goddamn tank
for
some reason.
They showed him flying through the city.
It was great how it was just
ease than it used to.
It was great how they did the classic thing that you have to do for Batman, where it's don't worry, those are drones, so you're perfectly okay to use this highly explosive weapon to blow them the shit up.
Yeah, very important.
So how are we going to, you're not allowed to kill people? No, it's alright, there's no one to kill. Awesome! Blow shit up.
Although apparently, when you're driving the Batmobile, you can totally run people over. And if that doesn't kill them, I don't know what does.
Yeah. Bit weird.
That's the whole problem with Batman, though. It's they basically just fuck themselves from the start.
I'm pretty sure people die at Batman's hands, just not...
From everything he does, pretty much.
Yeah,
even just punching you a lot, that's quite likely to kill people in some cases.
Yeah, or, they'll probably fall at times. Maybe the things he's using to rope them up or, hang them, what if that fails? They'll fall and die.
It's bat rope.
But he's not there.
It never fails. Bat rope never fails.
Bat rope. Right.
Except you can chop the bat rope with your own batarangs.
Well, yeah, obviously.
He's a big old hypocrite.
Yeah, what if someone used your bat rope against you somehow?
Yeah.
You need to be able to break it with something. The bat rope cutter.
The batarang.
Yeah, with the batarang.
With laser tipped edges.
Yep, obviously.
So that's happening. And there's
It's
exclusive...
not for a whole another year, though.
No.
It got
And there will
I think it'd
be
be cool.
exclusive content for PS4 owners. In the form of Scarecrow Nightmare missions.
The whole game is Scarecrow, though. That's kind of the plot.
Oh yeah, but no, presumably drug-induced stuff.
Well, as if that's not going to happen in the main story several times, probably.
But there will be more in the PS4.
Okay.
And then they finished with an Uncharted 4 trailer that didn't really show much.
Not actually really even a trailer. It's more like it was almost might as well have always just been a screenshot for as much as they showed.
You know what that trailer was? It's the start of pretty much every Uncharted game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, well, almost. Where it's like something bad has happened, and like,
and then you wake up on the shore with water swashing in your face,
and Drake is picking himself up. It's like
looking at his gun.
Yeah,
as you do.
That's how these games normally start. But if that was an engine... I did say this is made in engine at the start of the trailer. It looked real nice. So, and it's Uncharted.
And it's probably going to be the last one.
Judging by the story.
Judging by the tone they were going for.
Yeah, the title's called A Thief's End.
Yeah, apparently Nathan's been out of the game for a while.
Although I still wouldn't bet on that. Because it's just like, as if they're never going to do anything. No one does anything with any finality any longer.
Hey, if Sully can still be doing that job as old as he is, like he must be like, what, 30 years older than Nathan? Judging by the storyline from Uncharted 3?
Yeah. He's hell old.
Like, Nathan could be doing this for another 30 years. Minimum. It's probably not the last. Or maybe it will move on to his protege or something. Like, maybe Nathan will have a Nathalet. Oh, yeah, maybe in between 3 and 4, him and Reported Woman have got it on. Dun dun dun.
There's a whole bunch of excuses.
Babies in tombs.
Tomb babies.
Tomb babies.
What was the subtitle of 3?
Drake's Descent? No, wait. Is that the second one?
No, that was Among Thieves, isn't it?
That was Uncharted.
It was Drake something.
2 was Among Thieves.
2 was Among Thieves. 3
Drake's
was...
Fortune.
Drake's Deception?
Something like that.
Yeah, Drake's Deception.
Is it behind me or does someone have my copy? There it is, Drake's Deception.
That's a bad title. Anyway.
Well, it's because it was about
Francis Drake's
deception, not Nathan Drake's deception.
Well, or both, because
he was deceived by
the other Drake.
Yeah. All Drakes are bastards.
Apparently.
Don't believe the Drakes. Don't trust ducks.
Or dragons.
Or anyone from Colchester. Don't never go to the coach.
Okay.
I've got to go to the college today.
No.
Apparently. Change trains.
Just don't leave the station, you'll be fine.
The station is like a diplomatic embassy. It doesn't count as being in the
college. It's okay.
And you've got your radiation suit, right?
Safe.
You'll be alright. Notable not mentioned games.
Was there, apart from the ones we already mentioned that they didn't mention?
Drive Club.
Oh, right,
wasn't mentioned at all.
Yeah, that is sort of weird.
Has that lost its...
They spent all their enthusiasm that first time.
Yeah. It's like, we're done with this now.
Too many cars.
And also no news about Final Fantasy 15.
I guess, but well, like we said the first time, it was like there was barely anything about it then, and then even then we were like, why the hell did they even show that?
It was just sort of mock gameplay, wasn't it, when we first saw it?
Although when we first saw it, it was that dumb trailer.
Oh no, that trailer has nothing to do with Final Fantasy 15. Like that was a tech demo for like.
Well, yeah, but they were still like. Everyone was like, "Oh, surely that's Final Fantasy," but then it wasn't.
No, it was just a made up thing that they tried to say. This is what we can do with our new engine on PS4. And then didn't they like eventually say, "Oh, hey, we can do this on Xbox too."
It's dumb anyway.
Yeah,
there's not anything to show. Is really why that still wasn't there.
No, Final Fantasy 15 was
they're still sort of
weird...
too busy working on 14 still, even at this point.
True, but Final Fantasy 15 was that sort of weird cross-up, wasn't like it's modern day sort of setting
with like time,
whatever. And you can,
as you do.
And it's sort of character action game combat,
maybe
by the looks of it. That kind of stuff. It looked like they were going in a very different direction.
I doubt it,
but it had a behemoth.
Well, naturally,
in its classic look. So yeah, we didn't see any of that. Do you reckon Sony just has given up on Drive Club like the rest of us already have?
Probably. I think they know that they've kind of been beaten on the faults of...
Well, they've got Gran Turismo, man. It's like, why do they need another game like that?
Yeah, they haven't got any Gran Turismo to show. So
it's like, surely Gran Turismo and Forza are the car passion games.
Yeah.
Like, the people that really fetishize cars. Those are the games you play.
that I'm playing iRacing or something.
Well, yeah, that aren't fetishizing racing is a different thing, I suppose.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So that was Sony. It was fucking long.
Yep.
And as I say, they're not really actually that much more covered than Microsoft covered.
Well,
Really.
it's just the half hour of talking.
Yeah.
That was the problem.
I want to know how long that bit about powers lasted. It felt like an absolute age.
Yeah, it seemed like forever.
It must have been like 20 minutes just on that.
Bloody
And they had to
2D.
get like the maker of powers to come in and say it, and it's like he was like, perhaps it was his fault. Perhaps they said it's like, right, this is your 5-minute section.
Maybe he wasn't auto-cued. Maybe he was just like, you just go.
And he just rambled for too long. It's like, hey, look at this stuff. It's really cool, right? Right? I made this. I made this. Love me. He looks like. Do you remember the bald guy from Stargate, the TV series?
Which
Oh,
guy?
the
Sort of commander guy, like their boss.
Oh, right.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, he looks like him.
Okay.
There you go. Visual reference for you. Right, let's get on to Nintendo, shall we?
I guess so.
Nintendo.
Before we get going, I just want to say I really fucking loved their digital presentation. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was good.
It was,
I love
okay,
I like their direction, like that Ninty have been going like the last year.
So the first thing that happened is it pops up M-rated, which is always funny for Nintendo. It's
Yeah.
like, that's a good sign, I guess. It means they're not doing exactly the same thing that Nintendo always does, maybe.
But presumably that was because of the Bayonetta content that we'll come
Yes.
to later. But
Maybe some of the Robot Chicken stuff. Or that was probably
that was quite
fun.
tame.
Yeah, it was.
Relatively speaking.
So yeah, it opened with a robot chicken skit.
Well, it opened with a Robot Chicken skit, and that was sort of cool. And then they kept doing
Where's
it, and it got
Mother
much
Three?
worse.
Yeah, it got lame, yeah.
Where's Mother 3?
It was like the first one was fine.
That was
I'm gonna
fun.
go-
And then every
Reggie.
other bit after that was terrible.
I'm gonna get all Reggie on you. Firefly Reggie. Was the bad. And then the thing that immediately followed was also pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Like Iwata versus Reggie in a fight.
Yep.
In a Smash Brothers fight.
But they were like, it wasn't a Smash Bros. Fight to begin with, was it?
It pretty much was.
But you know, they were acting it, and then it
Oh, yeah,
became
that's what I
like
meant.
them on controllers.
It was the Smash Bros. Like acted out in real life.
Yeah, but that's the point. That's the difference there.
Yeah, but you haven't actually
Yeah.
announced the bit that why you would say it was the Smash Bros. Fight, which is that there's Mii's in Smash Bros. Now.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was their Mii's. That was what that was transitioning to.
Yeah, you just cut me off.
Is that new then? Or has they never had Mii's before in
No.
Smash Bros?
No, they have not.
And
Well,
they're basically
it's because
three
originally, with like when they first came up with the Mii's or whatever, they were like they didn't want the Mii's to ever be in a fight. Basically, they didn't want the Mii's to be violent.
What,
Yeah.
even in like the boxing in Wii Sports?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Like that totally didn't last very long. Apparently,
It's sport. It's fine.
yeah. I guess in sport, yeah, you have an excuse.
You punch each other in the face.
But yeah, so that is apparently not. They got rid
It's
of
out
that
the
rule at
window.
some point.
Right.
Yeah. So the Mii Fighter is a new character, but really it's 3 new characters.
Well, really, it's just.
but with a lot of customizable styles for each 3.
Well, I don't know about a lot. I guess sort of.
Well, I think there were like 3 choices for each move slot.
Yeah,
is the thing.
supposedly.
So like each character actually had 9 moves total, or 12 moves total when you could pick 3 or 4 out of them.
Yeah,
So some level of customization. So your fighter is in theory your fighter,
but it
but
seems
you
like
couldn't mix and match between the 3 classes. Like you couldn't
No.
make a fighting character and give him gunning abilities, for
No,
instance. Or
no.
it'd be cool if you could change like the parts. Like okay, so give him a gun arm instead of the sword, and perhaps give him something else for this. And maybe the moves are based on what parts you put on your character.
that probably wouldn't be as customizable. Though.
No, probably not.
But yeah, I mean,
But so that's an interesting way of increasing your roster, I suppose. And it also begs
sort of.
the question of whether those will count as like, I don't know, for glory characters, because I thought they always said the customizable stuff wasn't going to make it into the competitive modes.
Well, yeah, because this is really the first time they've showed the customizable thing, but not on the actual characters.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, I hope this isn't what they meant by customizable, where it's like, it's only going to happen for this very specific character of the one that you design yourself because it's a me.
Yeah.
Why were they talking about being able to customize the movesets of all the characters?
Yeah.
The actual characters.
I'm not sure if they said that was not going to be allowed in competitive play as well, or if that was just across the board.
I mean, I'm sure what Nintendo considers competitive play and what actually is played competitively is two different things anyway. So.
Sure, yeah. Competitive to Nintendo, competitive play was the for glory mode with the Final Destination style levels.
Yeah.
Rather as opposed to the for fun stuff.
Yeah.
Rank 3 fighting. So then they had a quick rapid fire session of like, we don't have a lot of time to talk about this, so here's a trailer of really quick cuts of features you'll find on the 3DS version.
Well, and also sort of casually announced a delay to the 3DS version because it's now coming out in October, and I'm pretty sure they said summer.
Yeah, which means it can't be. That means the Wii U version really can't be much.
It's just November, basically, or something.
Yeah, so that the whole 3DS first thing is sort of
slipping away.
Yeah, less important. Unless that means there's a Wii U delay coming.
Man, that would really suck. Yeah. Surely they can't. If they delay it past the end of the year, that's just going to really piss people off.
That's their That's their Christmas release. That's
exactly.
That's their holiday game this year.
Pretty much.
So it kind of has to. They showed like there's the sandbag mode's back. There seemed to be some mode where it's like the sandbag, but they're beating up a bomb.
That's basically the sandbag mode.
Yeah.
Because in the sandbag mode, you have to punch it before the time runs out, and in the bomb mode, you have to punch it before the time runs out.
Or is there something about killing yourself in a certain way? Like you have to beat up the bomb in a certain way and then launch yourself in the explosion of the bomb? Is that the twist?
Maybe.
I don't know. There seemed to be something about placing bets, like a wager mode.
Yeah, well.
All right.
They did sort of do that already, didn't they? You could,
not that I remember.
With the coins, I'm fairly sure there was a way you could actually get coins back from winning fights.
Are you sure that wasn't just the coin mode?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
Let's hope that doesn't come back, because who the fuck ever plays coin mode?
I think there was maybe you're right, was there a slot machine somewhere? There was a slot machine for acquiring trophies you didn't yet have.
That wasn't really a slot machine.
Yeah.
It was like a pull handle get thing.
Yeah. And it looked like there's probably the adventure mode is coming back because it looked like there was some sort of map.
Yeah.
In which you pick what you're going to do next, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And 3DS version not out till October. Woo. And then there was this that they started talking about amiibo.
Yeah.
But they introduced it in this do you remember that Smash Brothers fight? Iwata won because he resorted to magic.
Yeah.
And this was, quote, exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
It was magic.
It was totally magic. So amiibo is the weird name they're giving to their NFC stuff, which is basically exactly the same as Disney Infinity and Skylanders style.
Except they'll work across multiple games rather than just one game.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
But that means if Nintendo can be bothered, it'll work across multiple games.
Yeah. Also, amiibo?
It's got the word me in it.
That must be some Japaneseism, right? The bits of it must mean stuff.
Well, it's like amigo, apart from with amiibo.
Surely just call it amigo then.
Yeah, maybe they didn't want to use that exact word.
Yeah, maybe they didn't want because they would be offending Mexicans by calling them their friends? I don't know.
Maybe.
Amigo.
Or maybe it was already trademarked in somewhere else and they had to I'll just change one there.
Bow. Yeah. Just flip it. That's what I'll do.
Yeah.
It's just amiibo. It's strange. I don't know. Also, the other thing about it is that it's not exactly the same because the thing about having the Portal of Power or the Disney Infinity stage is that they work by you put the characters there and then you leave them there.
Leave them on there, yeah.
It's like, unless you're putting the gamepad down, putting your statue on the NFC sensor, and then playing with something else, that can't work like that with this.
No, I think you just scan it, don't you?
Yeah, but the trouble with that is...
But then it's like, if it's two-way comms, you would need to rescan to save.
Yeah, they've basically given themselves a whole save card issue by basically making it so it's like, don't forget to save before you turn off your system because we can't actually prevent you from not losing all your progress now. We can't even put a warning on the screen for that one. Well, we can put a warning on the screen, but it doesn't mean... It's not like the card just sits there naturally.
They'll probably force you to do it after every time something has changed that it wants you to. It's like, hey, scan your figure. Scan it again. Oh, something's changed. Scan it. Come on.
Yeah, that does kind of suck in a way. They would have been better off just having a separate thing to put it on permanently.
So, I guess Disney and Skylanders, although they've said it will be compatible with those games, I think both of those companies are going to want you to buy their stuff in preference.
Well, it's supposedly a slightly different standard of NFC, so...
well, yeah. It's... I don't know. It's mostly the same. So, I guess the two interesting points coming out of this is that it will affect Smash Bros. Gameplay in a weird way. Like, apparently the amiibo characters can develop their skills.
Well, it's just like an AI character that saves its state, and then like you can train it up by fighting against it.
But then why care about I don't know. I don't get how that's going to be good.
It's not good. We're not going to care about that kind of thing.
I don't understand. Exactly. Just an AI character? Where's the draw in that? It's got to be something.
Well, the even worse version of that, that they said about it, was like, the fastest way to level up your AI characters is to have two of them fight each other, so you don't do anything at all. It's like, who was that?
It's barcode battlers.
Yeah, exactly. Except much, much slower.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. And they also said Mario Kart 8 will support it at some point in some way.
Which is not the thing that we wanted Mario Kart 8 to support.
No.
we wanted a different thing.
Support the GameCube controllers.
Yeah, I hope they still do that, though. I mean, it's fair enough that they should put it back into Mario Kart 8 and whatever else. If they're gonna make it cross-game, you may as well make it Mario Kart 8.
Sure, but, yeah. Don't know. It'd be interesting to see what they do with it. I think they're a bit too late to the party, and they need to be doing something properly original with it.
Yeah.
But on the plus side, for them, it's Nintendo statues of Nintendo characters.
Which is
way more popular than statues of random characters that are based loosely off Spyro or something.
Well, yeah. Maybe it has an advantage in that respect over Skylanders, but does it really have an advantage over Disney there?
Well, I think you only have to have an advantage over one of them, and it's not really. It's not targeting the same market anyway, because Nintendo, surprisingly, Nintendo is almost more targeting the adult market who care about dumb Nintendo stuff. But
then statues of Nintendo characters make less sense in Nintendo properties because the Nintendo properties will already have the freaking Nintendo characters in them.
Yeah, but that's not what they're using them for, is it? They're using them as a safeguard, basically.
Yeah, I don't know. And then I've got a little note saying, hey, Reggie's face is starting to look old and weathered.
Nice.
Sorry, Reggie, but it was.
Also, that bit was the bit where they slipped in the Luigi death stare as well.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't forget.
Yeah. That was neat.
Let's have that in there.
I mean,
it was a bit out of place, really.
I guess it may have
related to what they were talking about at the time. It's just like, here's a picture of Luigi.
I suppose it's a nice... Well, they talked about Mario Kart 8.
That was the tenuous link that they went for.
I guess it's sort of proving that Nintendo are actively being more aware of what's going on around them, which is something they've kind of, I don't know, historically not done.
Yeah, yes.
So that's a good sign, maybe? It's a bit, I don't know, anecdotal and speculative, I guess, but there you go. Who wants to play a Yoshi game?
Yep.
Because
hopefully it's better than the last one.
Yeah, because there's going to be one. It's developed by the same guys that made the last one.
Yeah.
But Yoshi's Woolly World! It's not like Kirby's Epic Yarn in any way, except it's totally made from yarn.
I don't think anyone ever said it wasn't exactly like Kirby's Epic Yarn.
Well, obviously, like, the yarn mechanics are more... Like, Epic, it's the same art style, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, but not quite. I mean, Epic Yarn was surprisingly not so much about yarn as much.
Was it?
It was like there was a lot of... It's like you had the yarn outlines for, like, enemies and Kirby and stuff, but then there was a lot of, like, felt and, like, layered fabric.
That's true. Whereas this
is actually, like, everything is fucking knitted.
Okay, yeah. But so they did try and explain themselves as like, well, with Kirby, we tried to make a Kirby game, but then add, like, mechanics based on yarn. It's like, just to be clear, we're not making another Kirby game and slapping Yoshi in it. No, we're definitely making a Yoshi game.
Well, they're basically the same anyway. They both eat things.
I guess, but Yoshi...
Their main power is absorbing energy.
But Yoshi gets eggs and Kirby gets...
Powers,
yeah. And so they want to say, like, this isn't like a Mario game either, because we don't want to put the player under pressure. It's about exploration and just having a nice, relaxing time.
Yeah. But that's... I don't know, that's kind of worrying in itself, really, because it's like, for as much as everyone... It just seems like people forget what fucking Yoshi's Island was actually like. It was actually fairly hardcore in several cases.
Yeah.
You had to, like, one of the reasons why that last Yoshi game supposedly sucked is because it was so slow. And it's like, if you actually think about Yoshi's Island, you can fucking peg it if you hold down the run button. You just go. It goes into a goddamn sprint.
It's true.
It's quite Sonic-like
Yeah.
in some ways. But the level design was never about the speed, though, just because you could.
No. I mean, most of the time there was still exploration to do. You had to go, because you had to collect all the red coins and the flowers and whatever.
And not do it, and do it without dying, and have maximum health.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff. It was quite it was a sort of more of a technical platformer in a way, the original.
Yeah.
Rather than a speed run, I guess. But I mean, it looks. I gotta say, the aesthetic does look good, but I don't think I really like the Yoshi games. Like in general, it's like I never got into the original Yoshi's Island that much. It's like I like it. Don't get me wrong. I really appreciate it for what it did. It was a pretty groundbreaking game at the time with its art style and what it did for platformers. But it never totally hooked me. I always had a better time just watching Zach play it or something than actually playing it myself. And it had some of the Nintendo problems of, if you die, you'll go back to some checkpoint or at the start of the level, miles away from the bit that you died at. And and eventually that gets tedious. Some of the modern Mario stuff still does that, and it's a bit tedious.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Did you play that on emulator then? Yoshi's Island? Did you have a SNES? No. You must have played it on emulator.
Well, first, and then on the GBA version.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You kind of made up for your years of hackery.
It wasn't exactly that long. I think I only played it through like once on the emulator, and then I played it through like 2 or 3 times on the GBA.
Right, it was quite a long time after the SNES had died anyway, so it's like getting hold of a copy would have been tricky.
That's true.
And it was Europe, so we naturally had less to start with.
But we still perhaps wants an actual SNES. But just get a real one.
That'd be cool.
They are cool things.
Yeah. With a copy of Mario Kart and F-Zero and...
Dun, 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 dun.
Play that on the Game Boy.
It's
slightly different.
Or, the Wii U eShop.
Yeah, apparently.
It's not the same, man. You got to do it for realsies. With an RF connector. And a TV that hopefully still accepts that. So there's that. And then there was this weird ass thing called Captain Toad Treasure Tracker.
Not actually that weird ass though.
Well, I don't know. I didn't quite get what the mechanics were.
It's just the same as those mini games in 3D World.
Apparently, but I haven't played 3D World or know what that is.
Those bits are really good.
And also, Captain Toad has existed as a character since Galaxy. Surprisingly, he was actually in that.
Captain Toad.
Yeah.
I think that could be cool. I quite like those sections of that game.
Yeah. To me, it just looked like a slow-paced puzzle platformer.
It kind of is.
Due out later this year. And
puzzles are good, though.
I wonder if it's going to be like a full retail title, if it's like going to be a download title. Like an eShop thing.
They'd have to put a lot of puzzles in there to make it a full title.
Yeah.
Maybe they will.
So, yeah.
Maybe they'll get super hardcore.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, interesting. I will reserve my judgment on that one. It's like it doesn't necessarily look like it's going to interest me, but I have zero knowledge of what this
thing is. Yeah.
So then there was possibly the Ninty's biggest news.
Wow, in the vein of not actually really anything to show news, yeah.
But no surprises, I suppose. We are working on a new Zelda game. Here's some shots of it. We're going a bit open worldy and non-linear with it. Like, I guess following on from their ideas they had with A Link Between Worlds. Yeah. So, and it looked nice. It looks like they've carried on with the Skyward Sword look.
Kind of.
The sort of, perhaps a little less Cell, but it's in that sort of halfway house, isn't it, between like the Twilight Princess realism look, or cartoony realism look, and the Wind Waker totally balls out cell shady stuff, which I think Skyward Sword has already done. So I'm putting it in the Skyward Sword category. Yeah. But it's like they did make some of the same comments that they would normally make about a Skyrim game or something. It's like, hey, you can go anywhere, anything you can see.
Any
here.
open world game ever.
Yeah, anything you can see here, you can go to. See those mountains over there? They aren't that far away. You can climb up those.
I think that's cool because Nintendo will do it differently from Skyrim.
Yeah, of course.
When you're in Skyrim and you see a mountain way in the difference, and you're like, oh, I can go up there, and then you trudge all the way over there, and then it's the same as where you were when you started. There's nothing actually different. Whereas with Zelda, it's going to be they'll never do that. They'll never be big, boring, procedurally or whatever. There'll never be
big open areas that are the same throughout.
Yeah,
it'll be like refined biomes, I suppose, and.
I mean, they're definitely going to have stuff that's different wherever you go. That might reduce the scope of the game somewhat compared to a Skyrim, but at least it'll be packed with interest. Like, if you want to go to a mountain over there and you go, it'll be interesting and different from where you were.
Yeah.
And there'll be stuff to do.
And the world won't be too big, so they have to repeat itself. And so it's like a load of...
Exactly.
Just fill it with garbage.
But that is a contrast. That is a contrast with previous Zelda games, and they were being quite upfront with this is how we did it with Wind Waker because of the limitations.
We wanted to make it seem big, but the easiest way to do it was have small areas.
Yeah, separated by
massive amounts of sea
of ocean, which worked nicely. But this time they can do it
for realsies. Because they sort of didn't try in Skyward Sword to do that again, did they?
No, they had that thing where you...
And they definitely didn't in
They had an
Twilight.
overworld, which was the sky, didn't they?
And Twilight was very traditional in its structure.
Yeah, much more like Ocarina or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, Ocarina had the one field or whatever.
Yeah.
But now you have the whole country. You can go anywhere, which I think it looks really cool.
Could be cool.
Could be cool. I'm quite excited about it. I think it could be awesome.
Yeah. It's like I didn't care about Skyward Sword, and I really got into Twilight. And that look trailer from what we saw so far sort of felt like it hit a nice middle ground with me.
Yeah,
like this may be the game I want.
The important question is though, are they going to try and jam motion control in it again?
Yeah.
Meh.
I don't think they will.
Probably not.
They'll probably have some stuff. Maybe they'll have some element of holding the gamepad to the sky, maybe, but as they sometimes do. They'll think of ways of using the gamepad, I'm sure, but they probably won't be heavy-handed because I think they realise that motion controls aren't exactly in right now. But at least the new aware Nintendo probably knows that. I don't know. Well,
they've got their motion controls with Shigsy in his game that we're going to talk about.
Later on, yeah. So then they had some Pokemon stuff coming, and I thought, could this, judging by the opening moments of this trailer, could this be a new Pokemon Stadium? Oh no, it's just a remake of Ruby and Sapphire.
Which we already knew about for ages.
Yeah.
Yeah, we knew that was coming.
Well, I hadn't actually paid enough attention to know that they were actually proper remakes, where it's just basically they're using the X and Y engine.
Yeah.
And also porting Mega Evolution tech into it.
Oh, are they?
So now the starters from Ruby and Sapphire will have Mega Evolutions, and the legendaries from Ruby and Sapphire will have Mega Evolutions.
If Nintendo have this build an open world, proper full blown open world engine for Zelda with lush grass and mountains and shit, that could form a basis for the ultimate Pokemon game.
The game that they're never ever going to make.
But at least they'll have the tech for it.
They'll never make it. Pokemon will always be a handheld game. It's it would take perhaps a couple more generations of DS hardware before we'd be able to do that.
Yeah, I suppose so.
No, I'm saying it wouldn't be great. So there. Bayonetta 2! Still a thing.
Yeah. Still not out somehow.
Still not out. How long has that game been in development? A really long time.
Is there a date for that then?
I don't think there was. I'm assuming it's this year.
Yeah.
But
I hope so.
And they're packing in Bayonetta 1, right?
All of Bayonetta 1 will be there.
That's
with added Nintendo-themed extras. You can play as Bayonetta looking like Princess Peach, if that's what you've always fantasized about.
For some reason.
And make it look like Link, of course. Or Samus.
Makes more sense.
Yeah.
Well, the Link one, not the Samus one. The Samus one makes significantly less sense.
She does have guns.
Yeah, but her clothes are normally made out of her hair, and I don't think that works for, like, armour.
Any of these clothes don't really work for that concept, maybe. I don't know. Just they're not black like her hair.
I don't know if the colour of her hair was necessarily determining the colour of the clothes, even, really.
But she always wore that black.
Yeah, that might just have been. Might just be what she liked.
Probably.
She probably could have changed it to whatever the white colour she wanted.
True. I don't know if I should be interested in that or not, because I kind of always did want to play the original.
Well, if it comes with the original, there's no reason that you won't.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm not sure if I really... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I will pick it up or not. Depends how long it takes until we have another Devil May Cry game.
Depends how many games you have to get through before, at the point where that purchasing decision will occur.
Yes. Agreed. Hyrule Warriors
Man.
is Dynasty Warriors.
Obviously.
And it's
we already knew about that.
Yeah, but it's more Dynasty Warriors looking than I thought it might be. I thought perhaps they were going to take it in a slightly different direction than they did, but no, it's just Dynasty Warriors with a Zelda theme. But I'll give it its props. It does appear to do multiplayer on the Wii U right by giving one player the TV and one player the gamepad screen.
Yeah.
So, good for you. That's how you should do it on Wii U.
Yeah.
And it got dated, September 26th. This year. It will be out.
Didn't look very good.
Didn't look great, no. I guess if you're already a Dynasty Warriors fan, it's a bit of a no-brainer. But otherwise...
Depends whether you're a fan of Dynasty Warriors and also the Dynasty Warriors universe. Because if you're not necessarily as a fan of the Zelda universe, then I'm not sure that is such a... I mean, if you're only interested in the gameplay. But if you're interested in the probably ridiculously ongoing story of the Dynasty Warriors universe...
And I guess you could argue that some of the character choices are a bit... Well, how are they going to make that work? Like, why are they? How are they going to get Midna involved?
Well, yeah, if you want to think about the actual story,
yeah.
But then that's just how it doesn't matter because it's like they just in every Zelda game they just restart the universe over. So Midna can totally just come back, even though there's at the end of Twilight Princess, there's totally no way that should be able to happen. It's a totally different universe, so whatever. It's whether that will actually matter in the story of that game is the more interesting thing, or whether it's just here's a character from the Zelda universe.
Yeah. So coming up next, if Yoshi has stolen the yarn from Kirby, what is Kirby left with? Apparently clay.
Yep.
They're sort of doing a follow-up to Kirby Canvas Curse, or it had a different name in Europe that I can't remember. Canvas Curse was its American name.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Because you had it, didn't you? No? Someone had it. Someone I knew had it. Can't remember. I played it. So I should know.
Yep. Apparently.
But yeah, it's another one of those where you draw a path for Kirby on the Wii U gamepad. It's Wii U, not 3DS.
Which kind of sucks, because that seems like that should be a 3DS game.
I guess they're just trying to sort of say 3DS has had a lot of attention recently. Shit, we need to do some stuff on Wii U.
Yeah, I guess.
But perhaps they could have done a dual release.
It's the same. It's
the same game on both, maybe.
But it's just another example of the classic problem of Wii U games of that nature. It's because you're fucking drawing a path on the screen that you're playing on. So it's not like you can look at the TV screen while you're drawing a thing on the... So it's just like...
You'll be looking at the gamepad.
Yeah, you'll be looking at the gamepad. So it's like, that's why it should be on the S.
Unless they'll do something with that. Like, there is some reason for you to, like, move your head between screens for some reason.
Yeah.
It's made out of clay.
Yep.
Very claymation.
It looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's a nice look. But it's a unique sort of look, because it's claymation actually as clay. The very, very sort of clay-looking thing, as opposed to like people saying it's claymation and it's kind of not. Yeah. So then there was a very Japanese-looking trailer.
Yep.
It's like very Japanese. So they're talking about Alma Blade. Is this a Gundam game? There's all kinds of weird flying stuff shooting each other. Oh no, it's Xenoblade Chronicles.
That's basically a Gundam game.
Yeah.
Because it's just the same Japanese giant robots.
Yeah.
As always.
Mecca of Doom.
Xenoblade Chronicles X, in fact. Just like, I know
It
very
used
little...
to just be called X in like that first trailer where it was just like X, and everyone was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
And it's Xenoblades.
Yeah. People seem to like the first one of that, enough that they petitioned to get it released in Europe and America and succeeded.
Yeah.
After a significant amount of time. So I guess this is Nintendo responding to that, going, yeah, sure, we'll just release the next one in US and Europe, no problem. And it was well liked. As far as, traditional-ish Japanese RPGs go. So it could be good. I know little more than that, so I'm not a good source of info. And then they showed a bit of Mario Maker, which was leaked before the show, because people tweeted a photo of the Nintendo booth, and it's like, what the hell is Mario Maker?
Now we know.
And now we know.
It's for making Mario levels.
Yep, it's pretty much what it says on the tin. They did say it's very early, and it's like this, and Mario Maker might not even be its name. They might rename it and stuff. Although Mario Maker is a cool name, I don't think they should change it.
Yeah,
it's exactly what it says on the tin. Why change it? Could be neat in a sort of Little Big Planet sort of way, but without the level of being able to make up game types and stuff.
Well, as everyone was saying about it, because it's so early, it's just like it doesn't have enough content.
Yeah,
it's like, are they going to put in enough of the different potential mechanics that Mario has, even in side-scrolling mode?
Yeah.
It's just like you could have all the different goddamn leaves and capes and all those other goddamn power-ups that Mario's had over the years.
The potential is there though, but does that potential mean that they could be making or writing themselves out of making another new Super Mario Bros. Game?
That would be nice.
We don't need any more, in fairness. The one I'm playing is pretty great. I don't want any more of it, I think, when I'm done with it. But not for a while. I guess the difficult thing might be is will it have all of the gimmicks that the new Super Mario Bros. Games have ever had as well?
Yeah, it's like if they go that far or not.
Yeah, I just discovered a level that's made that's like a roller coaster. You're riding this bone thing on tracks, and it's like you're jumping off its back to avoid things and collect things, and it's like, could they bring that across? Or the fucking spinning stars that I hated, could they be brought across? There's all that stuff, and the new Super Mario Bros. Games are filled with them. But then I guess that might not work with being able to do stuff in the old art style, or they'd have to make all the new gimmicks in the old art style.
That'd be cool.
Well, I don't think they're going to... I think probably if they are going to port up a lot of the specific gimmicks for each game, they're going to limit it to that art style or that art style forward or something.
Yeah. At the very least, they need to put everything in there that made the original Mario game.
Yeah.
Because it's missing. Apparently, people are saying that the actual amount of stage you have to work with is quite small. You can't do stuff with pipes yet, as in you can't go to different areas as the result of going into a pipe. You can't make a whole world of levels. Right. It's all just singular stuff, and it's basically just dicking around with Mario right now.
Yeah, they need to fix all that and make it a proper game. But
but it could be something special. Interesting. It'll be interesting to see how they release that. If you see what I mean, again, is that's more of a candidate probably as for an eShop release than a game. But
it depends how much content they put into it.
Interesting. And that game's something totally out of left field. What the fuck is this?
Well, actual new IP. It's completely unknown for Nintendo. Holy shit!
What? They announced something called Splatoon, and it's I thought it perhaps looked a little bit like Mario Party in some ways, and then it was oh no, I'm so very, very wrong. It's this is a team shooter.
Yeah, it's basically Nintendo's Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Because eventually Nintendo caught up and realised that was a popular thing, and they were like, oh, I guess we have to make one of these now.
Yeah. I am really fucking interested in this game.
Yeah.
It looks cool. It's the core mechanic is that instead of killing players,
you can also do.
You can do that, but the goal is to cover the map with as much of your team's ink as possible, so you're just shooting the ground and stuff. I sort of thought to myself, it's like, that's where the Mario Party thing comes in. Sorry, I'm reading my notes in a different way. It's like, where have I seen this game mechanic before? It's like, there's that little mini game about shooting the Goombas that sort of paints the floor.
And the one with, like, the stamps.
Yeah, all the stamps, yeah. That's probably more the one I should have thought of. Yeah, it's taking that to an extreme. And it's like...
And it's using the Mario Sunshine tech.
Yeah, I guess.
Really?
And they're like Portal 2 style cover everything in gunk.
In goo. But this looks really cool. It's the fact that it's like they didn't just go and make a shooter with different mechanics. It's like, let's take these mechanics as far as we can. So it's like, actually walking on enemy ink is a bad thing because it like fucks you up. It's like you run slowly and you can't do your special ability, which is in your team's ink. You can swim as a squid and move really fast and jump large distances and stuff, making mobility kind of interesting. It's all new stuff, really, for a shooter. It's like, I want to see how this plays. I want to play it. The only thing people have said that they weren't massively keen on was the fact that the aiming is augmented by motion controls.
Yeah. You don't have to have the motion controls, though.
No.
Supposedly.
No.
Yeah.
Although, the way that was discovered and then, like, people started hearing about it, it was like, I don't know, that almost seems like that's like a dev thing that they've just left in accidentally in this build or something. It's like...
not using the motion controls.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, if it remains as a toggle, as it is at the moment...
But that's kind of how Nintendo have been doing their toggles for motion controls. At least in Mario Kart 8, that's how they do it. Like, there is no option, because Mario Kart 8 has no options. You have to pause it in the game and like press the toggle button in multiplayer to say, no, I actually want to just use buttons, please. Yeah. Or press the button on the gamepad that toggles between the two, and then it remembers it from that moment on. They were sort of made an interesting deal, like the gamepad will show the map of a map of the map.
Yeah. But with the paint on.
But with the paint on, but you can't see enemies on it, but you could sort of figure out where they are, I guess, by the fact that that part of the level is turning their colour.
Well, I mean, that is a classic, like, mini-map trick of you can't actually see the enemies, but you can see the effect of the enemies, so you can kind of interpret where they are.
I think that's cool. That's neat. And also the teleport to teammates thing is sort of interesting. You don't have to walk to them, you can just push their icon and it will go take you to them.
Sort of cool, but then that has implications.
Yeah, does that make the push and shove too difficult?
It's like the old Battlefield problem where it's like, if you don't kill the last member of the squad, they're all going to respawn in a minute.
Yeah, and I really hope, they weren't super clear on this, or I haven't seen it, like, they showed some shots of, like, the map just filling with ink, like, from a top-down perspective, and, like showing what happened during the game. It's like, I really hope that you get that summary at the end of every game, like that.
Like Civ.
And that wasn't a trailer thing. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it. The only problem I foresee with this is that it's a shooter on Wii U.
Yep.
Will it get a player base? And will it keep a player base?
Never know. Might get tons of kids like Plants vs. Zombies.
Yeah, let's hope. So that I can kick their asses. That's how it works. I'm really interested in this. Like, new IP from Nintendo, I'm on board.
Wow. Yeah, it's a new IP from Nintendo, but it's a new IP that's a wrapper around a team-based shooter. So it's just like, it's not actually really a new IP.
I suppose.
Well,
it's just a decorative skin on a shooter. I mean, it does have mechanics attached to it as well, but
it's cool.
Who's making that then within Nintendo? Do we know the team name?
I don't think they said.
No.
Just some Ninty guys.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the Mario Sunshine people.
What, the Mario team?
Yeah,
presumably they're working on thinking about what to do about the next Mario game.
It's totally the goddamn paint mechanic from Mario Sunshine, basically, isn't it?
Mm.
It almost looks the same that way that it's like, because it's slightly thick, of course.
Yeah, the way it goops.
I mean, that's how they could spin that off into an actual IP. Just basically bring back Mario Sunshine, only in a different universe. Or reverse Mario Sunshine, I guess.
Yeah. There was cool things like, if you paint up a wall, then you can swim up that wall as the squid.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's cool! That's a great idea. Out sometime 2015. Unspecified 2015. So then they started showing some anime, and I was like, are they doing TV too? Are they going to make a Smash Bros. TV show? No, it's just a weird animated version of intro to say, hey, we're going to bring Palutena from Kid Icarus.
Well, that's how they
Smash
do.
Bros.
That's basically how they've been doing all their character reveals. Is having a thing that doesn't look like the game is just like to hint what the character is, and then transition into the actual character.
And some of them they've done with like the Smash Bros. Style CG, and they like the Mega Man.
Well, yeah, it depends what the character is.
And the Greninja was done in the Smash Bros. Style CG. I hope, because during that trailer, she was saying all of the moves that she was doing.
Yeah.
I really hope that stays.
Really?
Yeah, it's funny.
So dumb.
Just announcing everything.
Like in that classic style. It's like Falcon Punch, but for every move!
But not nearly as cool.
No, still no Falcon fucking Punch.
Gotta bring him back.
Yeah. And also, they teased that maybe Dark Pit might join. Because of that way, she was sort of like, hey, Dark Pit.
That's probably a skin. Because it was already a skin.
Yeah, I guess.
Because they're not going to have Pit and Dark Pit.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just totally against what they've been trying to do the whole time.
They still have Link and Toon Link.
Well, yeah. But
fuck that shit. On a different note, we might as well talk about it now. This wasn't in the show.
No.
But they did also announce Pac-Man.
Yep.
Yeah, Pac-Man.
As a character. That's cool.
And they used the goddamn Pac-Mania music in the trailer, and I was like, fuck yes!
Good choice.
It's the best music.
Yeah.
I'm sure that music must come from... surely the Atari ST version of Pac-Mania can't be the only place that they've used that.
Well, Pac-Mania wasn't just an Atari.
Well, no,
ST,
but I think the other versions of it were kind of different. As far as I know.
It was an arcade release as well, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, holy shit, that's a good character choice. Didn't see that one coming.
And it's not Pac-Man riding a mech like he often has in the past.
Oh no, it's just
Pac-Man.
It's the Pac-Man with arms. It's modern Pac-Man, I guess.
Yeah.
Shit Pac-Man. but at least when he runs, he turns into...
Well, maybe when he runs, or it might be a move.
Yeah, he turns into original-looking Pac-Man.
Wow.
Yeah, Wagga Wagga Pac-Man.
Cool.
That's cool. That's a good choice. I didn't think they would get another, a different publisher on board.
Well, Namco's already helping make it, so why would they not put a character in there?
I didn't realise. I didn't realise Namco were...
Well, it's because the Namco, there's a sub-team out of Namco that's helping with the fighting aspect of it.
I thought that was Capcom.
Well, it's Capcom as well, but they're just why not everyone?
Just get everyone.
All the people who know what they're doing.
In fairness, Nintendo have done that before, get tons of teams working together to make a decent game.
But, there's all these companies basically might as well be one company almost. The Japanese companies, they're basically all. They can team up whenever they want to do whatever they want.
I wonder if they are all physically near each other. Or...
Well, it is Japan, so technically
just,
yes.
Well, yeah, but I mean, even in Japanese geography,
Yeah, well, they're probably all in this sort of southern Kanto or whatever.
But is there any other characters that are going to come out of Namco? I don't think so.
I mean, they could. What have they got? That opens it up to Tekken and Soul Calibur and
yeah, but they're not going to use actual dudes.
Ridge Racer Lady. And...
That's not a character that can fight.
She could hit you with a giant pit board. Yeah, that would be a Smash move, though, wouldn't it? Just summon a machine.
Because they already basically, because one of Pac-Man's move has Dig Dug in it, so it's not going to be Dig Dug.
No. I don't know. I thought Dig Dug might have been one of the support trophies or something. If they might have more things coming out as support-y stuff, maybe.
Well, it looks like the ghosts probably are also a support trophy as well as just being part of Pac-Man stuff.
Katamari? Again, maybe a support trophy thing.
But... Yeah, maybe as a support trophy, but that wouldn't work as a character.
No.
Unless it had some really weird mechanics.
What else are Namco behind? Can't really think.
Ridge Racer.
Yeah, it's just Ridge Racer, Tekken, and Soul Calibur, really.
Yeah, there's no one famous enough from Soul Calibur to transition back into Smash Bros. Like Link went the other way.
Galaxians?
Well, that's in Pac-Man's moveset as well.
I suppose they did that Cyber Sled game I really liked in the arcade.
Not sure that one's famous enough.
No, really not. No, what the bloody hell that is. There might be a trophy of it. The obscure references.
And another thing I noticed in amidst the Smash Bros. Stuff, which I'm not sure what we said about this before, but I'm fairly sure I saw someone grab a ledge.
Oh, did you?
Maybe that was old footage that had just been recut into this, but I'm fairly sure I saw someone grab a ledge. And we had said before that, that apparently they were taking it out.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Weird.
Might have to watch that again, maybe.
Yeah, well, then again, we weren't ever sure what exactly they meant, whether you don't grab ledges at all, or whether it's not possible just to hang on it.
Yeah.
Or if there's any restriction, or there's no way of doing an edge hog, like so people could just bundle onto the same ledge at the same time.
Yeah. Or something.
Yeah, we were never quite sure what they meant by it. And then they ended on a weird teaser
Really dumb.
of Shigsy playing a blurred game on both the screen and the gamepad, but if you just looked at it with,
with your eyes,
with any sort of decent, you could see ships flying around and some lasers being shot, and you're like, oh shit, this is StarFox!
Clearly.
Although it was kind of leaked that was happening anyway.
Why didn't they not just put that in the video as a thing properly? Why did they decide to blur it out and then release more stuff about it later?
Well, this was
because that was practically the biggest news always.
Oh yeah, but this was Ninty's thing. They kind of padded it out amongst the show, some of their other stuff.
Yeah.
I suppose to keep it interesting. It's like, here's some other stuff. Come back to Nintendo. You love us. But holy shit, new StarFox!
Yeah, but the bit
that shit.
I don't know that.
Yeah.
That's going to happen.
Isn't there suspicion that there is a bit of all range mode going though?
It was definitely what you could see was definitely all range mode, but they have said there will be tunnel levels. They have said that those will be back.
We don't want them to say there will be tunnel levels. We want them to say there'll be all range mode levels because that means kind of infers which part is the main part of the game.
Sure, I reckon there'll be an even mix because they've also said in the demos they've been showing, Landmaster has been there. And also a weird new vehicle where it looks like you're having to do supply drops or something in a helicopter sort of fashion.
Okay.
So there's a new game type as well. What's most interesting though is just how they're describing how the control scheme works for this. So the TV view is going to be I guess how you play StarFox games most of the time, which is from the third person perspective.
Yeah.
But if the gamepad is going to be showing cockpit view all the time,
right? Meaning
that and the theory is. And I think Shigsy himself explained this. It's the problem with the third-person camera is there's a sort of lack of precision for aiming.
Yeah.
So and now
they used to fix by letting you go into first-person mode.
So now what it sounds like from the fact that they now have some sort of dual-stick control scheme. So one stick will fly the R-wing and the other stick will aim independently within the cockpit view. So it's you actually have a sort of greater level of control. Now, whether that's going to be too hard or is actually just going to be really, really good, I'm not sure. And presumably there'll be gyro controls as well, I guess.
Probably.
But holy shit, new StarFox! And they didn't say anything about when this was going to come out.
No.
Presumably it's super early stuff. But they were just too excited. And it's you've got to see this shit.
That's cool.
I'm over the moon. I said I listened back to the last Saladcast we said with our predictions, and I literally said I would be over the moon if they released it, and I am freaking over the moon.
Yeah,
but not F-Zero though.
No F-Zero. No. I mean, you gotta roll the punches a little bit, one up, one down. It's this is a big up for me.
Can't wait to hear more about StarFox.
Yeah, come on, Nintendo.
And Chigsy's the man. That makes sense.
He's directly involved in this one.
Yeah.
Which means, does that mean he's not directly involved in Zelda anymore?
He's not. No, he hasn't been for a while, has he?
I don't know.
Yeah, he tried to pass it on to and then people were worried. Obviously, as you do. It was oh no.
I don't think he was involved in.
I don't think he was that involved in Skyward.
No.
Other than demoing it.
I don't think he was involved in Twilight Princess that much. I don't think. It goes all the way back to Wind Waker when he was last in serious kind of
cahoots
influence.
with development.
Yeah.
So yeah, woo! Get the woos out now, woo!
StarFox.
Anyway, that would have been the one that I would have. Yeah, do a barrow. That would have been the one thing. If they had a crowd, that's the thing to get hyped about, not the fucking Sims.
Yeah.
There you go. So other things, obviously we alluded to it before. Nintendo announced some other stuff outside of the Direct presentation. One of them was Mario Party 10. It's totally a thing.
Nobody cares.
But it looks like they're going down the same route that they
Don't you
sort of
guys
did
care?
with Mario Party 9, which is weird because
the bad one.
Yeah, like no one moves around the board independently anymore. You all move as a group,
Right.
which is sort of weird.
And then you take turns rolling the dice to move everyone forwards, and then what you land on is what affects you, basically.
But not
Right.
the rest of the team, which I suppose mixes up the strategy a little bit, but it's still kind of weird. It's not really a board game
No.
anymore. The twist this time is it introduces the option to have one player as the antagonist, so they can be Bowser and fuck shit up.
Is that going to be 5-player, or is that...
Yeah, 5-player, so 4v1 style. But what they haven't said is, like, does that mean Bowser has a win condition and all the other 4 players lose? Or is Bowser just there to be a bastard? I'm betting on the latter. So, yeah, I guess, like, I don't know, it's been a while, maybe it's been a while since we played a Mario Party game, or actually it's been a while since we played a minigame collection. So maybe this will be alright, or maybe it's
well, I mean, we did play Mario Party 2, but that's a different thing.
Well,
We played that specifically.
It's been a while since we've had... The minigames kind of have gone out of fashion after the Wii saturated the market with them.
Yeah.
So I guess it's been a while since we've seen one. So maybe it's okay. Actually, since I've said that about a lot of things this year. It's like maybe the timing for a lot of things is quite right. Because, I don't know, there's not been so many of some things. Saturation of most genres isn't high enough to annoy me, except for perhaps modern military shooters. But
Yeah, that's the classic.
yeah,
Maybe MOBAs.
maybe MOBAs. Yeah,
I don't think you can be annoyed about those because you don't care.
I guess.
And there hasn't been that many, really.
No.
No,
There's just
few
a lot of people playing the ones.
So there's that. There's some Sonic Boom stuff. They showed some more gameplay.
Everyone's still super unenthusiastic about that.
Yeah.
Less so by the same.
It looks, I gotta admit, from what I've seen, it does look like a kind of bad attempt at making Sonic Heroes.
And Heroes was already bad.
Yeah.
So you're remaking that and making it worse now.
Bad on bad. Which is really disappointing. I mean, okay, it's not out yet, and it's due out later this year, but is this another one of those cross-media promotions where they focused more on the cartoon than anything else?
Well, everyone was suspected that, like, the third game of this deal was going to be poopy.
Well, because Sega don't care?
Yeah, because they were like, oh, we just need to get out of this goddamn deal.
Yeah.
I can't believe we committed to 3 games. We were idiots.
But then they've committed to this insane big thing.
Yeah, but that might have been what they were planning on doing anyway, and it was just, like, convenience to have the game tie into it.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Also, that Styx character, I think, is only going to be in the 3DS version. Like,
Really?
not a part of the Wii U one, was the impression I got. They only ever referred to Styx when they were talking about the 3DS game, which looks more like a normal Sonic game.
Well, as they often have.
But, yeah, not sure. As a Sonic fan, I feel obliged to reserve my judgment until it's released, but it's not looking good.
You've still got to get through. You've still got to play Sonic Galaxy. That's not what that's called.
Sonic Lost World. I think that'll be good. And last bit of news I picked up on that Zach will probably find interesting is that intelligence systems are not working on an Advance War game.
That's not interesting. It's like, fuck you guys.
But they are working on a game that looks a bit like Valkyria Chronicles.
Yeah, it was like, that was sort of a half and half. It was like, well, at least it's sort of semi-Advance Wars-ish. It's not Pushmo again.
Yeah. Pushmo.
Pushmo World.
Pushmo.
Pushmo World. Pushmo World.
Pushmo.
Fuck those.
Well, except it's not called Pushmo here. It's called, like, Push Blocks or
Pull
something.
Blocks.
Pull Blocks, which is a terrible name.
Yeah, apart from, apparently the Americans prefer that one.
Well, they liked Full Blocks.
Yeah.
Like, which was Crash Mo. I don't know, Full Blocks. It's a bad name. Pushmo. Pushmo's a cool name. Pushmo. It's called Codename S.T.E.A.M. And I think it's supposed to be, like, I think set in Lincoln age.
Yeah, it's like, early steampunk style.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Could be cool.
It could be okay, but
because no one's done Valkyria Chronicles except for Valkyria Chronicles.
They haven't shown enough of it to really get a perception of like how much of that it's going to be. Because there's some screenshots where it, like the bits of UI they show, you can't tell whether it's like there's only enough space for 4 characters. But then sometimes they show there's another screenshot where it's like the UI seems to show a scrolling list, and it's like if it is a very limited squad size, that might not be as cool. I guess. Because you do, because then that sort of infers that the levels might be smaller and then it might not be as complicated or whatever.
Yeah.
Because Valkyria Chronicles, could put a relatively large number of people out there in some cases.
Yeah, it wasn't really small scale. There were some quite big levels. But then Valkyria Chronicles had the big problem that a lot of strategy games do, where it's like if you're halfway through a mission and then
something changes,
and then they throw in a story beat, and it's like unless you know that's coming, you're kind of fucked almost all the time it happens.
Yeah,
and it's like so. Let's hope they don't do that. Like these games are always best when they're kind of telegraphed. You know what you're getting into, and you treat it like a puzzle.
But the trouble is, it's not Advance Wars, and also. It's really dumb, but I just like 2D art from the Advance Wars style games. It's like if they ever made the new Advance Wars and then they tried to upgrade it to actual 3D models, I don't think that would work. I think the Advance Wars games just need to have nice pixel art.
That's what everyone thought that GameCube version was going to be, but then they sort of made
it was a
real
different
time.
game, so that was okay, I guess.
Yeah, except it wasn't
apart
a great
from
game.
Being a bad game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess is there any other intelligent system games that you can think of that have been like 3D art apart from those ones on the GameCube? And is Intelligent Systems 3D art, does it have a style at all, or is it just generic? Or are they bringing someone in to do it or whatever?
The 3D parts in the Paper Mario games? Maybe? Super blocky world?
I guess.
Yeah.
It's just like a level. I don't know. It's probably might be okay, I guess. But it's not Advanced Wars.
Yeah. And it's 3DS as well, so at least Zach will get to play it. And that's pretty much all I got for Ninty. You got anything else?
Well, not for Nintendo. I've only got one other thing.
All right.
I'm not even sure where this comes out or who's making it. I assume it's PC.
Right.
But the only other thing that I noticed down at all was a game called Spectre, which appears to be Audio Surf but with F-Zero-esque parts.
Yeah, I've heard of that. That looked kind of cool.
It's basically Audio Surf by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Only not in the load your own music style of Audio Surf. It's like the levels are based on music. It's the guy doing the music is the guy who did Super Hexagon's music, so...
Oh, wow, okay.
So it's going to be awesome, basically,
Yeah.
for music stats.
Chip tunes?
Yeah, and then you just like drive along a track and evade things and pick up other things. But then it looks like the sort of twist of that is it's a track with multiple paths, but then you can transition between them by just like ramping off one and jumping onto the other.
Oh, cool. And there'll be different parts of the music,
presumably, or something along those lines. But yeah, there's not really much info on that. I guess there was that one trailer that I saw, and that was it.
Spectra. Cool. That's the press conferences.
It is. And
additional floor show stuff.
I don't think there was much, the floor didn't really yield many secrets other than the ones that, I guess that Nintendo sort of...
Well, and a few things that were, playable there, like the Bloodborne theatre demo was more of an actual demo rather than just a video.
Was it? Okay.
Not actually playable, but you know what I mean. Someone was playing it.
I thought the coverage on some areas of E3, in the mass media, has been somewhat weirdly spotty. It's there seems to be a massive focus on the press conferences, but actually finding out information from the floor has been kind of tricky.
Yeah,
perhaps they don't care to go on the floor when they're normal news sources and not game sources.
Maybe they're getting a bit bored of the floor and just we like everything tailored to us. Thanks.
People were suggesting that the floor was relatively empty in terms of quantity of people.
Strange.
Not so strange when there's not much news coming out.
Because that was... Well, yeah. I guess. Maybe it is supposedly the down year, because everything's coming out 2015.
Yeah, apparently.
Okay, well, so what are your highlights? What lifted you this year? I think Nintendo put on a hell of a show.
Yeah.
And Splatoon Zelda and new StarFox have got me really excited.
Yeah, Zelda for me looked really good, and then remakes of stuff that I already know I like. Like
I know it's like
Fandango and Halo, and what was the other one? There's another one.
Forza Horizon.
Oh, well, no, that's not a remake, is it?
No, but
and GTA 5.
Oh yeah, true.
But yeah,
I mean, there wasn't that. Perhaps there wasn't so much of the remake stuff as there has been in some previous E3s, because some previous E3s have been filled with, "Hey, we're doing this HD remix collection."
Yeah. That's what effectively the Grim Fandango is.
But they're like, well, Grim Fandango is not just an HD.
It's a full remake,
re-release. Yeah, it's a full remake, which is quite different. The same way, sort of the same, I suppose, with the anniversary editions, because they're sort of significant reworks. But still the original game, I suppose, underneath.
Yeah,
but
GTA 5 is an HD edition, but in a good way.
A very good HD edition. Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so Halo and Forza are the things. Oh, and Sunset Overdrive, things I'd take away from Microsoft as things I'll be really interested in. Sony stuff didn't really appeal to me. I mean, Destiny does look interesting, but
you can do that somewhere else in theory.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm on board with Destiny yet.
No.
Mm-hmm. Me either, yeah. I just think those enemies seem a bit too similar to Halo-style enemies. And,
some of the weaponry looked kind of similar. It's totally a Needler, man.
Mm.
Just it's blue now instead of pink. And Guilty Spark's there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just less of a character. I don't know. I don't know if I'm into it. It's like, for all their attempts to say this isn't Borderlands, it looks a lot like Borderlands. Just with Halo mechanics.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that.
I don't know. But then, and that's the thing, I suppose
Batman, that was the other one I thought looked good. But, I mean, I agree.
I've actually been pretty out of Batman. Yeah. I actually, even though I haven't played City yet, I sort of don't care.
City is good.
I know it. Everyone says it's good.
It's not as good as Arkham Asylum, though. Not by long.
Yeah.
I mean, that game is amazing.
I haven't found myself wanting to play it, which is weird. Because I really enjoyed Asylum.
Asylum was genius.
I remembered something else that I saw that was not actually related to E3 at all, but might have just been coincidental timing. I saw another one of the early videos of that Elite game.
Oh, yeah.
And that's looking pretty goddamn sweet.
If
it ever comes out,
I haven't seen it. Tell me about it.
Well, it was just another one of the early alpha footages. So it's just the dev doing whatever he's most recently worked on, I guess. And the most recent thing they put in is travel between the different star systems. So the hyperdrive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
and it's another one of those things where it's just how much of this matters, because it's the same as No Man's Sky basically, where you're it's a fucking gigantic. He zooms out to the map, and it's like, oh, look at this map, and here's the nearby star systems, and then I zoom out, and I zoom out some more, and I zoom out more, and here's the whole galaxy, and there's fucking millions of stars. It's like, well, that's cool and all that you can generate a million different star systems, but do you have to care about them? It's like Starbound as well, where it's just the map is effectively infinite because it's just generating different planets based on the XY coordinates is what is the seed for the random generation and all that, but they're all basically goddamn the same.
That's the key, isn't it? Variety is more important than infinity.
But yeah, so it did look pretty cool, where it's just zooming out to pan over the whole of this galaxy, and then it's one of those moments where it almost looks like it's going to be irrelevant, but then he's like, oh no, I'll actually click on that star and show you that it's an actual star system with a name and some small amount of stats about it,
just to prove the point.
Yeah, but yeah, so that looks fairly cool. But not actually anything to do with the game part of it yet.
No, but will be. Well, it will matter.
Yeah, and also the way the UI works in that game looks pretty decent as well, because it's the whole in cockpit thing, where it's he actually looks to his left, and then that causes the map menu to pop up inside his cockpit.
That's cool.
That's cool. That is cool. That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super excited for Elite Dangerous, I think.
Yeah.
It's a cool name as well. Elite Dangerous.
Sort of.
I don't know, it just sounds funky.
It sounds like there's probably been another game that has a very similar name to it at some point.
What, the Dangerous Elite?
Yeah, something along those lines, I'm sure.
I feel like I'm more excited for that than Star Citizen.
Yeah, and that's what people were saying about that video. It was just like, why is everyone excited for Star Citizen and not this?
Yeah, Elite looks so cool.
Well, because Star Citizen will eventually be bigger?
Probably.
Well, or maybe not by the looks of this.
Yeah, or maybe it will never happen. Yeah.
Or maybe neither of them will never happen. Potentially possible.
I just looked up some stuff, like, as we said, Destiny PC, and I sort of thought that they'd talked about it before. They haven't.
No.
But they have said it's like, they are talking about it internally. Like, it's like, the word they use is, it's a natural fit for the PC platform.
It'll just be ages until it comes out.
Yeah, basically.
If it ever does.
But I'd be sort of surprised if it didn't, because it's not like they have any kind of ties to the console makers. They've just been building it as a console game. But I don't really see why it wouldn't work as a PC build, and maybe the port isn't that hard, because, x86 architectures of the modern consoles.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Halo controls aren't. I don't know. Halo's a bit weird on PC, so
because of the speed of movement isn't as fast as you perhaps expect from a PC game.
Not that you move that quick in Halo and in Half-Life or Call of Duty or whatever.
Oh, you move a lot faster in Call of Duty than you do in Halo.
That's true. Right.
E3!
Thanks for joining us for the E3 cast.
Yeah, hype.
14, yeah. If you didn't listen to the previous one, check that out. That's also available on the site, containing the other press conferences.
All Microsoft, EA, and Ubisoft fun.
Indeed. And catch us in a couple of weeks for more regularly scheduled Saladcast, where we'll fill you in on all the crap that Zach's been playing for the past month or something.
Yep, apparently.
So enjoy, and catch you next time, listeners.
Say bye-bye.
Bye.
Zach.
Turn that shit off.